bed and not be here for the first 10 seconds or
Shut the
so of his
fuck
video
up. Man, like all you do
to
is
put on
yap.
his nerd glasses so he can look more like
Bro,
the nerd
my
emoji.
bad. They're blue light blocking, dude. No, I don't think they are.
Okay,
But
sure.
can a nigga not see? Like, what the
No,
fuck?
stop saying
Okay.
no.
All right, my bad. All right. So today's video, live stream, I guess. You want to talk about more men like Tate, the video I made, a video on Catholic school, trying new things, and that's about it. Okay. All right. So
They both lost. Jared is so right.
they both lost.
Yeah, we both lost already. Max
Oh,
won the debate for real. Where's
yeah.
Max at?
Yeah.
Where's Max in here?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's what
can
I'm
we
saying.
put him in here? Like, I want to
I
see
don't,
his
I don't, I don't
ninja
know.
moves. His ninja.
That'd be great. That'd be amazing.
All right.
He's like locked in. That was like a TikTok ass transition.
What
Both
the
of
fuck
y'all
is
have them.
Ukemi? What is the nigga on about?
I don't know, man. He just says stuff in Japanese because like
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's
dude,
just
like,
his autistic hyperfixation, man. Don't judge Jared. Okay, he has some disabilities that some of us have to deal with. It's okay, but in any case, can you expand more on the "We need more men like Andrew Tate" video? Because
of
literally no
course,
one besides me and two people watched that video like all the way through. We just clicked
bro.
on it and hate commented. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no,
Like
there's a
I
lot
was
of
about to
people
do
who
that
hate
too.
comments, and it's like, dude, I think a lot of the comments came from this like Ryan Liu guy. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
but
he
that
commented a
guy I
lot
think
on my
actually
video.
watched that video, but like the rest of them, I could tell they did not watch the video and just clicked on it and just like started hate commenting, which is kind of fire. I'm not
There's
gonna
a lot
lie.
of no. I think there's a lot of people who watch it through, and a lot of people actually like were like, I like this. There's a higher like to dislike ratio on that video, which is
Really, I didn't create enough
cool.
accounts to dislike it. Damn. Anyway,
Dude, you did. You were trying to do the same thing with my Coke video, bro. You do Coke, I for sure, for sure. Because the thing I made, the video I made on Coke. Why'd you? Nah, wait, not time out. I'm writing that down. Why'd you dislike that video? I'm writing that down. Why'd you dislike that video?
I'm just a hater,
You
man. I don't know what to
you're there.
say.
You are a supplier and a distributor, and you don't like how my stance is
Absolutely,
fucking up your
absolutely.
business.
Yeah, I
I
don't
get it
like how
now.
you're negative. I don't like how the 10 total viewers on that video saw that video and hurt my business.
For sure,
Obviously.
100%. Because they're key
Okay, can you
buyers of you.
back on topic before you start yapping on ADHD rant like the rest of your videos?
I took
Can
an
you
Adderall right
expand
before this,
more?
so we got like 30 minutes before it hits, and I lock in. So
Okay, can you expand more on the "We need more men like Andrew Tate and Sneeko" before I
for sure, for sure, for
miscontextualize it?
sure, for sure. Okay, so specifically, you just want me to elaborate on like the entire idea, or do you want me to go into anything specific that I referenced in the video, or do you just want me
Just the
to
entire
give you?
idea. Why
Okay,
do you
so
think we need more men like Andrew Tate and Sneeko?
that first things first, I'd like to address that title is actually I'm going to bring up the Google Doc, so I have something to reference because I wrote it down. I wrote down a lot of my thoughts on the Google Doc, but as that loads up, I initially called it that video because nigga, it's a banger YouTube title. All right, that's just a fact.
So
And
you
two,
purposely put something that was
controversial,
completely
clickbait.
dispirited and didn't represent what you
Not
believed in,
completely.
and got mad at people for
Not
thinking
completely.
that's
I
what you
didn't get mad
believe.
at that. No, to the entire thing.
I'm playing, dog. I'm playing, dog. Continue.
Just like no. Well,
No.
okay, like everybody does like clickbait, of course. So it's like it's an oversimplification of my idea, right? In the video. So um
What's up,
in the
Max?
video, I have it pulled up now. So I have it first. My first point is I want new perspectives. The second point is the lack of role models, and I think that's it. So one of the biggest, I guess, reasons why I made that video and I propagated that idea was I noticed that there was a lot of people on the internet who, regardless of what he said, whenever they saw him, based off of his like initial knee jerk reaction, they immediately had like this ick, this like I everything he says is just immediately shot down in my mind palace because of something that he said, or I don't agree with his character, rather than like looking at the things he says and trying to shut the fuck up, Sinclair. Sorry, I'm sorry. So this is what I need Adderall because I got to turn on the chat. So um, yeah, what was I? So a lot of people would just immediately see his stuff and would immediately, I guess, um, like la, 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 do that sort of thing, like completely just shut down his anything that he had to say, regardless if it was a good point or not. And I didn't really like that, right? Because a lot of the things that I found that he spoke about were things that were kind of common sense and held to be true, at least in my experience. Um, and that goes over the new perspectives thing, part of the first part of the video, which I prefaced it that way because I understand that the clickbait title that I was going to set, and I wanted to get that like, hey, all right, I would like to talk about this in a specific mindset of like learning rather than casting judgment immediately and just clicking off the video. And like, I don't really care if you do that, but like, if you're actually just trying to be intellectually honest and just hear another person's opinion out, even if you disagree with it, I appreciate that, you know? So I then got on to the second portion of the video, which is the lack of role models in today's society for both genders, or sexes, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Um, so this is another part of the video where I started talking about, at least on the internet, there's an extreme lack of role models. And you brought up in our DMs of a lot of different examples of different role models on the internet, specifically within the UFC. And I think there was like, I think they're all within the UFC of people who were like good people, you know? And I agree with you. I'm like, dude, like those people, pretty solid individuals, you know? But my thing is growing up, at least with the typical, I consider myself to be the average guy. Like I don't, I think I have the pretty average dude experience, especially growing on the internet. I was not exposed to any of those individuals. Growing up, I played a lot of video games, and at least within the video game space, there isn't a whole lot of people, or at least within a lot of different internet communities, there isn't a lot of role models or people that you can look at and be like, oh, that's a good guy, you know? And we're starting to see a shift. There's that one dude. I think his name is Nick A30, who's like a family-friendly content creator. He seems like a good guy, but he's only been around for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And that I didn't have somebody like him growing up. And all the people who were like family-friendly Minecraft creators who are popping now or who were popping back then are now all pedophiles. So it's like, whoa, this we have some issues here, you know. And yeah, that's kind of my I guess reasoning for that, at least in my perspective. In the entirety of society, I do think there's a general overall lack of good role models, not just within people's, not just on the internet, but just in overall society. And you do bring up the fact that there are some good people. 100%, I'm not discounting that, and I don't want to discredit that. But I think we still have a lot of work to do.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to your first point, talking about how we need to hear people out, even if we disagree with them. And while I agree with that, although you told Sinclair Bagwell to shut the fuck up when she said, "Homie thinks he's the old Andrew Tate," she's kind of spitting facts here, right? Because think about it like this. Think about it like this.
I don't
The
know how to
title
read
that
names
you
really
put for
fast.
the video was "We need more men like Sneeko and Andrew Tate." Andrew Tate does the exact same thing you do, where he has like some common sense points, like you said, but just packages it in a way where the title is something as crazy as "We need more men like Sneeko and Andrew Tate." Like he'll say things that are titled like women are inferior to men or something along the lines of that. And then he'll say some common sense point that like, oh, there are differences between men and women, which is obviously true. But then,
Mhm.
like you, he'll sneak in some like stupid subtextual like misogynistic claim. But unlike you, he's also just a horrible person, a piece of shit, and just in general a criminal. And not because I believe in like the sex trafficking stuff, but because of stuff that he like admitted to on live and bragged about, like scamming men out of their own
Yeah,
pockets. And that to me is a horrible role model as compared to other people. You said
for sure.
UFC stars, of course, and those people are not only more popular than Andrew Tate, but they're also known for things
I
other than
don't.
their
I
own
disagree.
controversy. The
I
what
disagree.
do you disagree with that?
Specifically with the popularity thing. I think if we were to pull the popularity between Andrew Tate and like Khabib, for example, or Demetrius Johnson, if we showed a picture of Andrew Tate and Demetrius Johnson side by side to the average like fucking ninth grader right now, every like I'd say majority of the children are gonna be like, ah, yes, that's Andrew Tate. Every person, every single kid, especially males. I think it was extremely prevalent. He glazes himself and talks about how he's the most Googled man in the planet, and I do agree with that. And it isn't because of his doing specifically, but he built up his like school and he incentivized people to get like he did a large affiliate marketing scheme which incentivized people to market his clips and basically get people to sign up under his school using their link, which would give themselves a kickback, which is it got this massive feedback loop of people just promoting his stuff, which is why he got so big. And I think sure for sure Khabib is massive, but Khabib never did that. It's there's like levels to this. Like for sure, these are extremely popular individuals. I'm not discounting that they have an immense amount of clout, but I think if we're talking like who has more, like Tate was like banned in like UK schools. Like that doesn't that's not something that like happens, like to like any normal quote unquote celebrity, good or bad.
Well, I see your point. What comes from that is the controversy as opposed to Habib, who is just that great in his sport and transcended the
Mhm.
sport to a degree that he became that popular. And in my opinion, more so than entertain. And there's a lot of metrics that you can view in terms of popularity. Sure, Google search amounts, but in
Mhm.
any case, like if we just look at like sheer numbers, Habib trumps him by far. Like I think Andrew Tate's Instagram account was like 3.5 million at its highest. Habib has 40 million. That's more than 10 times. And we don't have to talk about just
Mhm.
Habib. We can talk about Ronaldo. We can talk about Messi, other sports figures that are great guys. And you talk about in the video game sphere, like growing up, influencers and Minecraft's family friendly, whatever. Markiplier has never been canceled for anything. Like he's always been family
Mhm.
friendly, and he also vocalizes the opinion of, hey, we can't just alienate everyone that we disagree with, and puts forth
Mhm.
those things in a way that's packageable and is popular with the general public without having the controversy, without being, a criminal and without being a misogynist. Also, Demetrius Johnson is the GOAT and would kill Andrew Tate in a fight despite being like half his size.
I agree. I think he would if they were in the same weight class. I agree.
No, just
Right.
straight up, like no weight class, they're same size. Demetrius Johnson kills him, like just straight up.
No weight class or just like a natural
No,
size. Like
yeah, Demetrius Johnson made 125. He's the 125-pound champion. Andrew Tate, depending on what you look at, he made cruiserweight 205, and he weighs up
that's a
by
large
his own
weight.
claim 230 something or whatever. But in any case, Demetrius Johnson kills him because Andrew Tate doesn't know how to grapple, and he's not even that great of a kickboxer.
I don't I don't know about this field enough to really make an educated guess. But
In
if I
any
had to
case,
just say like, dude, that's a massive weight gap, you know? Like one single kick from like a dude who's like 70 pounds more than you, like that's gonna be a lot for like anybody to handle, I would assume, regardless of
either
skill.
way, either way, he can't grapple, and Habib will definitely choke him out. Demetrius Johnson, who
Khabib,
Habib
yeah,
recognized and
that's
trains
a
with,
large that's
chokes
a
him out
less like
easily. Demetrius Johnson fought a guy bigger than him who is a brown belt champion in his sport, and still submitted him. So I don't see how Andrew Tate would survive that, given the fact that he's smaller than the guy that Demetrius Johnson submitted, and also much lower in skill than. But in any case, focusing on the bigger topic at hand, Markiplier and Habib, much bigger following,
I
has a
agree.
lot better ideals. Not
Markiplier's
criminals,
so
not
clever.
misogynists, not evil people.
That's a good
Um,
point.
and they also espouse some of the traditional values that aren't as common, like Habib being a Muslim and all, and which I don't agree with, but still espouses traditional values that Andrew Tate subscribes to, him being a Muslim as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really familiar with Markiplier. I just know who he is, of course. You're on the mic, you're on the internet long enough. You just know who he is. I never was a fan of him personally. I never really watched any of his videos, but I know he has a really nice voice, and I know he's like super popular, and he's also very family friendly. He doesn't really get canceled a whole lot, so I can't really confirm nor deny any of your claims. You'd be like, "Oh no, actually, he said nigger back in like 2015." So, as far as I'm concerned, like he's a cool guy, you know.
Mhm.
You know, like, so
Nice.
that's a solid point. Um, you got me there, I guess. Um, but I don't really think that kind of goes against any of my points. Like, sure, you brought up like a few examples, but I still think that we still need more. Like, I can name off way more. The reason why I said Tate and Sneeko was because those are the two of the most prolific people within the last 5 years on social media who got the most controversy and attention, for sure.
I think they got attention because of the controversy, not the other way around. And I think that
Yeah,
attention
exactly.
because of controversy isn't
Mhm.
necessarily a good thing. Like, not all eyes are good eyes, you know? Not all media attention is good media attention, you know what I mean? And within the last like decade or so, they're not nearly the most prolific through social media. Like Messi, Ronaldo, like just by sheer numbers, like dwarf him.
Well, yes, I agree, but people, I suppose, yeah. It's definitely not a sustainable practice. I agree. Like, I wouldn't do that. But, like, to that extent, like, what they were doing was kind of crazy. But game is game at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a reason why people say, um, like, all press is, like, even good press or bad press is good press. Whatever the fuck that saying is. You know, are you familiar?
All press is good press, even if it's bad. And that's a stupid
Yeah.
saying that I just said was also stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they obviously don't think it's stupid. Their pockets don't think it's stupid.
Yeah, their pockets don't think that it's stupid, but the general public thinks it's stupid because the general public doesn't like Andrew Tate or Sneeko, if they know who they are at least.
Well, I don't know about that. I suppose, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, sure.
So do you concede on the point that like we have other better male role models? You just think that we need more? Do you think that Sneeko and Andrew Tate are a good example of good role models?
No, I said that in the video as well.
You said,
I said,
and it's very easy to mess up in like a 20-minute video. You can misspeak. You said something along the lines of, I think that Andrew Tate is the picturesque or quintessential male role model for just like a little kid, which I like because
yeah,
he's rich and whatever. You said
no,
something like,
yeah, I agree with that. Not like he's not the perfect person, but I'm saying like it's very easy to see somebody who's apparently living this lifestyle, who's devoted to God, who has women, who portrays this lifestyle of this bachelor, extremely rich bachelor who lives with his brother in a massive compound, has security. Like, that's a cool life to live if you just had that, be the end of it. But if you're like a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old or God forbid a 10-year-old, I was like a 7-year-old on the internet. If I saw somebody like that at the age of 10 or, some younger age, and I saw that, I'm like, dude, like he's driving around his Bugatti. Yo, my nigga. He has baddies next to him. Oh my God. I would be like Tate when I grow up because I'm a 10-year-old, dude. You know? you understand the
I
point I'm
think
making?
I
Like,
think if
I'm not saying he's a good role model, of course, but based off of the things that he's saying and the life that he portrays to live, I think, especially if I'm chronically online, like a lot of children are these days, they're not looking at Khabib, they're not looking at Messi, dude. Most kids, it's sad to say, but they're not even really outside. There's a large portion of people, period, regardless of ages, who don't go outside. And I think that's a large issue because it lends I guess it leaves people vulnerable to people like Tate or Sneeko, and it kind of warps their brain on or perception of what it is to be a man because they might not be aware of Demetrius Johnson. Of course, they could probably know who he is based off their face, or they might have seen him once or twice in a UFC fight, at like their family's barbecue or something, right? But they're not actively following them. They're not listening to TikTok clips of them fucking 2 hours a day. There was a point at which that dude was kind of unavoidable on any social media platform.
I think that
And I think that
just like based on your own personal experiences, that might be the case. But if I just scroll through, like if I completely deleted my account, I just start scrolling through TikTok,
Mhm.
I'm gonna find Messi and Ronaldo edits. Like, there's no avoiding like knowing who these people are. It's way easier to avoid a Tate video than a Messi or Ronaldo video, and I think that their popularity is something that you're diminishing because you personally don't like find interest in those things, which I don't either. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but like you can't diminish the sheer amount of numbers that they have. And yes, these kids are also on the internet all the time, but that means that they're watching these family friendly Minecraft YouTubers, and the fact that they're kids that are being misled on their ideas about masculinity by this guy proves more so that the kids are easy to manipulate in a target audience for guys like Logan and Jake Paul to
for
manipulate,
sure.
as opposed to saying that we need more men like Sneeko and Andrew Tate as male role models or male role models in general,
Hmm.
and random LeBron edits according to Max. And
And
like
random
Max,
LeBron. LeBron.
yeah, and as Max said in the comments as a joke, Thomas the Tank Engine is a good
I've
male
never
role
seen him
model.
actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. He
okay,
said
I
Thomas
forgot.
the Tank Engine is a good male role model, even though he's joking. Like fictional characters like Batman or Superman, like
Yeah,
all
that's true.
those are people that like kids can see all the time. Cartoon characters. Like I would rather like if I'm a 10-year-old kid, would I care about like this rich guy who drives a fancy car and is a Bugatti? No, I want the rich guy who drives a Batmobile and also fights crime and is a superhero. Batman.
That's true. That's true. I suppose it comes down to the individual's taste or preferences, though, and your environment growing up. But like you brought it up, the preferences of like if I deleted TikTok and started up a new account, I'm gonna see basically everything, and then the algorithm will kind of adjust based off of the preferences that I give it and the inputs, or like what I stop to scroll on, what I like, what I comment on, things of that nature, and it'll show me more of that content. Um, that's something true, but I think it got to it. There was a certain point where it was kind of like if you liked one of his videos, you got recommended like six more. It's part of the reason why I deleted like Instagram a while back because a lot of the meme pages were like showing OnlyFans content or like we're getting sponsored by OnlyFans creators, right? And I had to delete the app like maybe a year or two ago because it got to the point where I would just try and go on for memes and I would just see ass. And it was like I'm not following OnlyFans creators, I'm liking memes. And these memes are just posting more OnlyFans creators and I'm just seeing ass. I don't want to see this. And if I put like not interested, it doesn't work because those accounts traditionally post memes. And it was at that point it started becoming every account, like every meme account was selling out. So it was kind of impossible to avoid.
Well, I never had that problem because I didn't follow random meme accounts that sponsored OnlyFans. But I
Well,
understand the problem. But
I didn't do it either. I wasn't doing it either. When I
this is a
followed them, they
very
weren't
niche.
OnlyFans sponsor accounts.
This is a very niche, small subset of people that you're
Mhm.
subscribing to the majority of saying we need more real male role models. What you're saying is that the random male contrarian loners who sit in their room on the internet all day need more male role models, which I agree with
There's a
because
lot of
they're
those
under.
people.
There are a lot of those people, but
There's
like
a
it's a
lot of
small.
those people.
It's a small subset of the
I
population.
don't think so.
Being
I don't
being
think so.
male already makes you 45% of the population, and like being
Mhm.
younger puts you even lower. Like how many of those people are like male contrarian people who just want to like have something outside the mainstream? By definition, since they're outside the mainstream and they're niche, they're not the majority of the population. And while I agree with you that those small subset of people do need more male role models, that's because they're not mainstream and they're niche. Of course, they need more male role models that like supply to them because by definition they aren't getting supplied to by the mainstream. But is the solution someone like Andrew Tate, like Sneeko? No, it's a solution with more niche people. Like I know you bring up Mighty Mouse as someone popular, but he's not very popular. Like if you're a niche interest, like if you have a hyperfixation on something, like Jared with his autism, then I would be more subscribed to someone like Demetrius Johnson, who is unpopular, and I would make stupid YouTube and TikTok takes about it instead of making stupid TikTok takes about Andrew Tate and being a contrarian about whether or not Brian Ortega can hit as hard as Dustin Poirier.
Mhm.
That's an inside joke that only Jared is laughing at, or is sitting in his room like, that's actually a great take. But in any case, you understand my point.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. There's definitely like niche communities, and we all have different like specific sub interests. But I do think that, especially within recent history, there's a lot of different like niche sub communities that have become a lot less niche over time. Like for example, gaming used to be very niche. Um,
I was
it's
gonna
not
point
very niche.
behind you and the anime posters. I think I see behind you. Like I
Anime,
understand.
anime
Yeah,
used to be niche. Like
yeah.
there's a lot of different things where it's like, um, oh, like nobody's at home like jerking off to hentai. Like hentai, everybody knows what hentai is now. I remember growing up, like that shit was like, dude, like what are you doing? Even still, it's kind of like, dude, whoa, what are you talking about? But there's, I personally, in my N of one experiment, there's a lot of people on the internet in random internet communities. For example, on Discord, um, there's a lot of people on Discord. I'll just take one of the Discord communities I used to be in. Excuse me. Uh, these people don't go outside. And there's a lot of communities like this where they would be in servers and they just they play like a game like Overwatch or a game like Valorant, and they get on and they just talk to their friends, and these are their actual real friends, and they don't go outside. So you're talking about these people like as if they're like, I guess, the average person in that like, oh, they go outside, they socialize and they have a normal friend group. There's a lot of people who don't do that, and you won't know that they exist until you go into these super niche online communities.
I agree with you that there are a lot of those niche communities because I've been a part of them. Like I have every single Batman Arkham game, and I love
Mhm.
anime. Like I don't know if I have proof of that right now, but the size of my eyes might be proof enough of it. But like I know other people who are also part of these communities. Like Jared
Yeah.
Grapples in the group in the live chat said hentai overrated for real, which means that he meticulously went through every single hentai to properly rate them, only to say that it's
Dude, I
higher
can't take
ratings
that.
than
Dude, this is crazy.
it's higher ratings than what is actually deserved, right? He actually thinks that other forms of pornography is underrated based on that statement. In any
Uh-huh.
case, although
Uh-huh.
those, okay, this is just
Go
turning
ahead.
into a series.
Go ahead.
I
Yeah,
love
let me
Jared,
just do
bro.
try to
He's a
highlight
good
real
dude. He's a
quick.
good dude. I just worked with the guy for like 3 hours building this thing, bro. Anyway, shout out Jared.
That's fucking insane.
Maybe if you had
Actually, hentai is
maybe
overrated.
if you had a Batman poster in your room, you could prove it. But like, I mean, I
Bro,
have
we tried.
I have a random Pokemon card right here. Like, I'm part of these niche communities, and I know they exist, right?
Mhm.
But the thing is, like within those niche communities, there's also role models. Like I just said, Batman for video gamers, for for like anime fans, like Vinland Saga got super popular, transcended even anime, right? Like these are like Thorfinn was a great role model to loads of people, and
murder.
people who are even not anime fans, like this is a group of people who have a niche thing that grow outward, not because of some controversy or whatever, but because of a greater idea from the media that isn't controversial at all, like saying I have no enemies.
That's true. That's true. It was Askeladd that said that, by the way.
No, it was Thor's, who is his
It was
father.
Thor's. You said Thorfinn. And I
uh,
was like, the Thorfinn is not a role model. That nigga's a murderer.
he decides that his father is smart and about saying I have no enemies. Have you
Yeah.
gotten to season 2?
Yes.
Yeah. So Thor says it, and then Thorfinn abides by it after becoming a murderer,
Yeah.
and also Thor's was also a murderer and evil before that too.
But he was like on his shoulder, like, you have no enemies. You
Like,
know?
do you need a sword, Thorfinn? Why do you want a
That show's a
sword?
banger. That show's a
Yeah,
banger.
it is a banger.
But I do have a Batman poster. It's just blinded out by the reflection. But it's really, really
See,
good.
see, if only you were as hip and cool as Jared the Grappler, who also has a Captain America poster in his room, would you have a better example of a role model than Batman?
I don't really fuck with Captain America. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I fuck with
Honestly,
Spider-Man.
I don't fuck with Captain America either. But I just wanted to say something good about Jared after I've been like constantly. Okay, to be fair, it's because in the live chat he's been hating the entire time. So
Dude, I
I
can't
gotta
see the
fire back
chat,
a little
bro.
bit. Okay, you can't see the
Bro,
chat, but like
Priscilla fucked my shit up. Or wait, whoever the fuck was it?
I don't even know,
The
man. I
girl,
don't even know.
the random person who was like, fuck off, and I blocked the chat. I just haven't been able to see. I've been like fucking around on the buttons, like trying to see. It's gone.
Yeah, fair enough. I think you have to click top. I think you have to click live chat instead of top chat in the bottom left.
Yeah, I clicked it, and it's just like not unless people are not talking.
There are people there. Like Jared said, Max just said, "I got no enemies," and Jared said, "Max, I'll be your enemy if you want." And then Max just said, "I have no enemies at all." And now you're switching to see your wall for whatever reason.
Yeah. You want to see my wall?
Nah, I'm
Look
good,
at
bro.
this
I bet you
wall of
staring at it
understanding.
as it is. Okay, thanks, bro. But in any case, can we change the claim from we need more male role models like Andrew Tate and Sneeko to like then the claim that you actually meant in the video, which is that there
You want me
are
to
not
amend the
enough
title?
roles. Huh?
Would you like me to amend the title on YouTube?
No, you don't have to amend the title on YouTube. I'm just saying, I'm just saying,
I'll
like, can
change
you
it out to
adjust
like
and concede your
the subtext that I talked about in the video, so that
goofy
you
odd
can be happy.
debate? W YouTube title, by
Goofy
the
odd
way.
debate.
Goofy odd debate is like the most accurate description of this entire live. But in any
Yeah.
case, I hope this video gets you thousands and thousands of views that are full of more people who don't watch the video, or
That's
even
what they're
better,
saying.
that
They're saying
don't
that you
click the
are
live
exactly
chat,
like me.
and then listen to what we're saying, and they're like, "These guys are idiots. What are they talking
These
about?"
guys are fucking
That
dumbasses, dude.
I mean, you know what I hope for even more is that some people watch the entire video, look at the live chat, and still think that these people are dumb. That's what I'm
That's what
hoping
I
for.
hope for.
Yeah, that's what I hope for.
That's what I hope for. It's
Yeah,
like, dude,
because
watch the entire thing at the least.
yeah, like if you're gonna be a hater, you got to be a dedicated hater. Like, see, I watched your video.
Exactly.
I watched your video entirely before I disliked it and left hate comments on it. See, if
You
anything, you should be
literally lied.
thanking.
You just lied. You just lied. You just lied. You said you didn't do it.
What do you
You said
mean?
you clicked off the video.
No.
You said
I
you
clicked
clicked
off the
off the
video
video.
at first, and then I decided, since Jaden is such a responsible
Shut the
person,
fuck
I
up,
need
dude.
to watch back the entire video before I start hate commenting. No, I watched the entire video. Though. Like at least that one. I haven't been keeping up with the most recent ones because I'm not gonna lie, I can't listen to yapping that much. But like, I
All
watched at
right.
least the three that we're talking about. I watched at least the three that we're talking about. And so can we like concede the we need
Yes.
more men like Sneeko and Andrew Tate to
Mhm.
maybe we don't have enough male
We
role
don't have
models.
enough role models.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
from that video and the claim that you made there, we don't have enough male role models for niche people whose mainstream doesn't necessarily fit how their narrative works. Like for example, gamers and anime people
But
who
that's
have a
not niche
growing.
though.
Uh,
Like I could say fighting is niche.
I would say fighting is niche. Yeah,
Like
martial arts is very niche.
that's super niche. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
saying.
like
Like, I wouldn't concede the niche. I just want to say like, we need more role models. But you understand how shit of a YouTube title that is? Like, dude, like this is where I'm talking. This is where I'm coming from.
I
Like, dude,
understand that. I understand that. Like
dude.
I like even mine, which are much more like simple YouTube videos than
Mhm.
with like no nuance or controversy. It literally says Kung Fu versus Muay Thai. I could put in Kung Fu, but actually the Chinese martial art that derived from the CCP,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I could say all those things. I can
Or you could
understand the
say
need to
Sanda is better
simplify.
than Muay Thai.
I could also put that, but
Mhm.
I I could also put like something like crazy and like controversial
That
or
would be
whatever.
controversial. that would be
That
controversial
would
to a
be
lot of people.
controversial. But instead, what I would do is I would just simplify it and not change the broader claim that I'm actually making, and also show respect to the opposing opinion, which is something that you had in your video had the idea of listening people out while disagreeing with
Mhm.
them. If you like compartmentalize and put your like ideas in a box that is titled something that they don't like, then obviously they're going to be less willing to hear out your disagreements.
Mhm. I get where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that you're going to stop doing that, or do you want more views by making clickbait
Uh,
titles with stuff that you don't agree with?
I'm probably. It's not that I don't agree with it. Because I agree with it, kind of. You know, there wouldn't be a reason I put it up if I didn't agree with it a little bit.
I shouldn't say don't agree with. I should purposefully putting it in a way to make people more provocative, so that more people click on your video and be mad at you for disagreeing with something that they didn't even disagree with.
I cannot do that. I can't do that.
Okay, but you can you understand how that makes people less willing to hear you out, and when they disagree with you, less weird like willing to hear your opinion.
No, for sure, yeah, but fuck them, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, Jaden needs to be YouTube famous. So it seems like your goal. It seems like Max is onto something here. It seems like
Mhm.
your goal isn't actually to be like putting forth great ideas or making great content. It sounds like you're more interested in being YouTube famous and getting more clicks. And I'm not saying that's entirely a bad thing,
That's not
but
true though. But okay, like d- there's a lot of people who post like a lot of okay. In order to get videos, in order to actually have an impact, you need to have a good title. You need to have a good hook. So regardless of the title or the content that I post, like I could post the best video ever. I could post a video like claiming to have the cure for a specific niche cancer, and if people don't know about it, people aren't going to click on it. You know?
or you can create content that's so good that you don't need to clickbait it, and just the description of what it is would be enough to sell them on it. Like Mr. Beast never clickbaits on any of his videos. If you click on the video, that's what it is. Like
For
if it's a
sure, but he
hundred
has outrageous videos.
yeah, he has outrageous videos, but it can be good enough of content to a degree where if you just make the title a description of what it is, though people will click on it and see how great of content it is. And in fact, that's such a refresher that Mr. Beast became the most popular channel on YouTube. Like to not clickbait at all, like that was such a refreshing thing because it doesn't screw with the dopamine receptors in your head that say, I'm gonna click on this, it looks so good, and then it's a trash video, right? As opposed to, I'm gonna click on it, it looks so good,
Mhm.
and it is that good, and it's exactly what the title says.
Well, I don't think I lie in my thumbnails. It's not like I'm. like everybody has to come up with some sort of like catchy thumbnail or not thumbnail, but good catchy title to get people to click to draw eyes, right?
That's not true at all.
So
Like the guy whose podcast I just went on, Ramsey Dewey, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. He like never clickbaits in any of his titles at all. Like he just says what the video is called.
okay,
So, like he got
sure.
thousands of views on his video with me, and it's like podcast with Ryan Liu, and he just begins his entire podcast like, welcome to the podcast with Ryan Liu. I'm Ramsey Dewey from Shanghai, China. And he doesn't like put in anything
Sounds
crazy
kind
like
of an announcer, bro. Okay,
yeah, he is in and out. He does commentate for some fights, but
he brought that up, and yeah, he
in
said like
any
eSports or
case,
something or whatever.
you don't have to clickbait your titles. And Max said Mr. Beast thumbnails are pretty clickbaity. They're not. Clickbaiting means that you're trying to bait a click in order to put something forth that it's actually not what the video is. But it's
No,
not clickbaiting.
that's not what that is. Clickbaity means just like coming up with something that's like able to generate clicks. It could be representative.
But then it's not bait.
Clickbait has a negative connotation because of people who did that, who would put forth something that the video is not actually about.
But
If
that's not
you
bait. If
yes, it
it's
is.
bait, right, then it's leading you towards something that's not true. But if it's just something quick click worthy, then it's just something that's good. It's not baiting you for anything. It's just something that's good. Like it's an accurate description of a title.
So okay, Mr. Beast has click worthy content.
Click worthy content or just good content. Like
Okay,
yeah,
I've never heard of this term, but
good
okay.
content. Good content. No wonder you've never heard of this term. I've been watching your
Shut the
videos.
fuck up. I'm gonna
I'm
call you a
playing now.
slur here.
I'm gonna call
I'm
you
this
a
close to calling you a
slur
slur.
on live on your YouTube channel. Oh,
You're making me mad.
you're making me mad. Hey, I'll give you the like Sneeko inspired like sketch one was a pretty decent video.
Which one?
The trying new things one. I think that video did pretty well too, but that wasn't a clickbaity title or anything.
Nah, that's true.
Yeah,
But there, like, mm,
and Sneeko's
I
old content
suppose.
too. Like you didn't he didn't have to like clickbait or whatever. Like he would just post something like I remember what was that video you sent me? One of Sneeko's old videos. Like everything happens for a reason. Like that's just
Mm,
that wasn't like a clickbaity title saying something that he kind of believed but was more saying for controversy or it wasn't even it wasn't like not related to
I
the
get your
video or
point.
anything. It was an accurate title for the video.
Mm, that's a good point.
Yeah. Like you don't have to do it. And like the reason why people hate the new Sneeko is because he does do that.
Yeah,
In
he
part.
did that.
As
That's true.
for as opposed to a lot of other things that he's done.
I thought it was predominantly because the red pill arc he went down, which was like started wilding, and then he started getting super popular because he was doing it before Andrew Tate, and then everyone called him a dick rider because Andrew Tate started getting popular doing the same thing, and then the
Yeah,
city
but
started
here's
copying
the
him. And
thing.
it's like, dude, what the fuck?
One of the symptoms of the red pill disease, and I'll call it a disease because it sucks. But the one of the symptoms of the red pill disease is the clickbaity stuff. It's like saying like, "Oh, women are inferior to men," and then saying
Which is
something that
true.
it's
Which
like
is true. I would like.
that is not true. It is not true that anyway. So they'll see, or they'll jokes like that, and then everyone will disagree
That's
with them
funny.
because
You see my laugh?
uh, Jaden, you're so funny. In fact, I'm just go. Why aren't you on TikTok making cringe edits of oh I can do this transition with my
What are
face?
you talking about? What are you talking
I'm sure you would be more popular doing that than making red pill content that literally says we need more men like Sneeko and Andrew Tate.
about? Okay.
I think that would genuinely like for example, on TikTok, like the most popular ones, like I think the most liked video is just a random edit of like chocolate strawberries, and the second most liked video is like this girl doing random faces in the mirror. Like none of that has anything to do with something like Andrew Tate or some male role model or whatever. It's just like content that people like. It's just like people like chocolate strawberries. People like this random video of a girl that people find attractive and make weird faces for some reason. Honestly, that one I don't understand as much. I understand the
I
chocolate
don't.
strawberries one,
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I don't. I've never seen any of this. I'm not on this side of the internet. I've never.
but
I honestly never downloaded TikTok, so I'm not.
good for
I
you.
can't.
But here's the thing: almost everyone like has a TikTok in our generation. Like that's
Mhm.
like TikTok is how Andrew Tate got popular. That's why I'm bringing it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, like people within our generation download TikTok, see Andrew Tate, see Delphine or
Bell in
whoever.
the bathwater, behind the bathwater.
Yeah, that one, and then like all like random creators, Mr. Beast, that like get popular on TikTok because of some crazy clickbaity thing, or they just do stupid stuff and then they get views, or they
Okay,
make the like transition on their face like you do.
dude, I'm just doing it because it's funny.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that would legitimately
It's
get
not
you
even.
more views than
It's not
like
even.
say we need more men like Andrew Tate.
All right, but it's funnier.
No, what's funny? We need more men like Andrew Tate and Sneeko.
Yeah, I think not necessarily funnier, but it's a more interesting topic than just going. Like.
Yeah, but you can talk about those things while putting we need more male role models. Andrew Tate and Sneeko are part of the problem or whatever. Like you can say what you actually mean. Like you
Mhm.
said yourself that like Andrew Tate is not the best guy, right? And like
Yeah.
obviously he's a terrible person, but like you don't have to put in like we need more men like Andrew Tate and Sneeko. Like it can be simple and grab people's attention without like being intentionally provocative. And I
Okay.
don't think you really agree with the idea that we need more men like Sneeko and Andrew Tate. Like do we really need more people who are red pilled and have this clickbaity stuff and put out forth ideas that genuinely aren't that new or interesting? Like they're pretty basic conservative ideas.
Sure. Okay. I got to get back into the lab.
Get back into the lab. Okay, I think we've had enough conversation on this topic. I think we've come to some common ground.
Mhm.
Uh, let's move on to the second one, which is what
Catholic
video?
school.
Catholic school.
Okay.
Catholic school. Oh, and this is where Jared's gonna
Gonna
get
be
real
interesting.
mad at me,
I
cause
was gonna say because I don't.
because
I want to see
because
what
Jared's a
your what,
Christian.
what your point is here. So
Okay,
I made a
so
video.
first of
Okay,
all,
actually, you can.
God doesn't exist, and
Okay.
yeah. Second of all, two libtard pilled individuals. Anyway, second of all, I think that the purist culture that Christianity pushed forward is not only toxic but backwards. Like sex education is very important, and the fact that they didn't emphasize that enough is horrible and stupid. And that they promote abstinence as opposed to sex education.
Well,
See, Max is saying "huh" right now in the live chat because he didn't watch the video, just like most of us didn't. Although that was actually a pretty decent video.
all right. I don't
I
know
just
what you
said it was
mean
a
by.
pretty decent video.
I don't know what you mean by purist culture. You're talking to like specifically. I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. I'm gonna
So
keep it a buck.
purist culture refers to like the culture in Christianity that says a lot of the stuff that the Catholic school taught you, which is that like if you sleep with somebody, it's horrible and you get addicted to the oxytocin in your brain, and the more you have sex, the oxytocin like is reduced for the next person, which just isn't the case because you can literally have the same problem with watching too many TikToks.
Ha-
You talked about how the Catholic school taught you
No,
that
yeah, I just don't know how you got from oxytocin to watching TikToks. So like,
because
what's
the chemicals that make you happy in your brain or the same ones that you get when you scroll through TikTok.
I thought oxytocin, at least my perception of oxytocin, was the bonding agent between people.
It's more known as like the happy
I thought that was
chemical.
serotonin or
That's
dopamine.
dopamine. Both of them are, all three are involved with that, and
Okay.
serotonin like there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not gonna get into the psychology of it all because it's complicated and convoluted. But point being that just because you have a chemical in your brain that happens when you have sex does not mean that having sex with more than one person is inherently bad. Obviously, if you sleep around with a bunch of people and get STDs, that's bad because STDs bad, not good, right? But pushing, yeah, science rules, like Max said, but pushing forward for a purity culture like Christianity and Catholicism does not push forward for a better understanding of sex for one, which leads to more teen pregnancies and more STDs, as opposed to having more sex education that doesn't just push for abstinence as the first idea.
Okay. So I think I understand what you're saying. Um, there's just one thing right there where you talked about, I guess, the like the more they emphasize more so this purist culture of like not having sex over sex education, um, which is kind of true in parts because okay, so we there was definitely like mandated by the state, I'm pretty sure, like sex education. So like everybody, regardless of whatever education you have to go through, you have to take some form of sex ed. Um, but since it's obviously at a Catholic school, you're also going to get their, I guess, view system or beliefs on it. So this is where it kind of gets a little interesting because they um they spoke often about they would bring up like parts of or like, stories of the Bible, or they brought the oxytocin hormone debate or chemical in your brain debate of like, hey, you shouldn't have a lot of sex with people because this can happen. Um, Whereas I think you're viewing it more as like, hey, if you have sex, you're a bad person, which I don't think they were really trying to like um, hammer home. I think they were just trying to like put you on to some of the dangers of having sex with people that would kind of hope to dissuade you from doing it rampantly, which is what what happens a lot,
It could
especially
happen. It could happen, but
it
the
could happen, and
science,
it often does happen in New York.
yeah, the science doesn't show that though. Like it doesn't have any correlation with higher body counts with anxiety or depression. And just to clarify, Jared said that oxytocin was this, that, or the other. My point wasn't that TikTok causes oxytocin. My point was that having addictions via dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, or whatever, regulating those levels can happen with anything, not just sex. It could happen with anything, and
For
that doesn't
sure.
mean that you can have like any idea saying like TikTok you can't have, or Instagram you can't have, YouTube you can't have. That doesn't mean that it justifies having the purity culture.
I don't. You keep on saying purity culture. I don't subscribe to that. They. It's
I know
not
you
like
don't.
a. It's not like a.
I watched the
I get
video,
what you're
but
saying. Like you're saying, like the, like religion puts forward this like culture of like, um, you're less than if you have sex with people, which is something which is kind of crazy. Like, I don't really agree with that, but I can get that's the perception that that religion often gets because they often talk about I'm not going to get too into it, but obviously we all have seen religions going crazy on people in the past, at least, or even in the present for, I guess, sexual infidelity and sexual, what's the word? What's the word for when you're acting delinquency? That stuff is, the punishments that we often see exercised by, um, I guess, a little bit of the crazier religions around the world are a little bit much to say, the very least, of course. But I do agree that, um, but I don't agree that there's like we shouldn't just be like, oh, like fuck everybody. Like that's not like another thing that because that's because okay, those are the two like extremes that I'm seeing, right? And I've seen both of the extremes at throughout my life of like, hey, sex is like this super sacred thing. Don't do this with anybody. Don't this is a very sacred act. Try and save yourself in marriage, and that's like this purist culture of like that we were talking about, and all the bad stuff that can be looped in alongside of that. But I've also seen the I guess remnants of like the 70s and like the obviously I wasn't around during the 70s, but I've seen how crazy hookup culture can get. And there's a lot of people in college as well who can also attest to how absolutely wild it gets on this side as well. So I think I made the point of like, hey, if you want to pick one or the other, I'm gonna be a little bit over here. I'm just naturally because if I had to pick, which either or, at least these people, their rules, their stance, and I would be more comfortable being on this side rather than being on this side because I don't really feel comfortable. That's just my personal preferences. It's a multitude of reasons why. Um, but like I highlighted in my video, I'm not somebody who just like goes around having sex with like anybody. That's not really like that's not something I do. Um, I
I
don't
think
like that.
you're. Although I also think that hookup culture is bad, but I think you're straw manning a little bit. I think that the people who have sex with everybody are very rare, and like those people typically don't exist as much as the people who are saying sex is bad and you can't have sex until you're married and the like. When like all of those things are very important to understand and do before you become a full-fledged adult and get married.
What do you mean? Like, what things are important to do before you get married?
Like understanding sex and sex education as opposed to teaching abstinence first.
What do you mean understanding sex and sex education? Do you mean like, because you can understand what sex is and like have sex education from like school or from your parents or what is often the case, at least within religious communities, from your religious leaders. You can get it like that. It doesn't need
The
to be.
problem, the problem becomes that a lot of like Catholic schools, for example, push for those things not to be taught in schools as opposed to being taught by their parents when they need to know this information, and oftentimes parents don't do a good job of doing that. And on top of that, they teach abstinence first as opposed to teaching about things like birth control.
Hmm.
Like Jared said, sex education doesn't
I
mean
can't see
finger
the chat,
blasting
bro.
all the girls' class. But
What'd you
that's why
say?
I'm bringing it to you. He says sex education doesn't mean finger blasting all the girls in class. Like it
No,
doesn't mean hookup culture.
no. Are you serious? Oh fuck, bro, my bad.
Oh man.
I misinterpreted it. I gotta go wash my hands. that's, that's crazy.
Mm. But you understand my point.
Yeah, I understand your point 100%, and I definitely get where you're coming from. But I don't think that. Uh, I do think there is like um a fine line where like okay, so you brought up 2 points. You talked about how I think you spoke about you talked about sex education and how there isn't a lot of people who have a lot of sexual partners. I don't know the numbers on that, but
I,
at
I,
least
I
in my
didn't
personal
I didn't
experience,
mean don't have many sexual partners. I mean that they don't fuck everyone and get a shit ton of STDs.
okay, okay. So I don't think a lot of people are going to Diddy parties and fucking everybody. I don't like. There's definitely
There are
some nuance
definitely people
there.
like Diddy, but
No,
there are
100%.
not.
Like, there's definitely like spectrums to this, but I do think you're downplaying like the amount of people who have like over 10 bodies. Like especially around
Over
our
10 bodies isn't necessarily inherently immoral.
I'm not saying it's immoral, but I'm saying like that's a lot, you know? Like you don't need to
It
like
isn't.
get to
10
10
bodies
bodies
isn't
to
a
know what
lot.
sex is, you know?
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is like that's not inherently immoral and it shouldn't be shamed. Like people will shame, especially women, for having more than 10 bodies when they could just have 10 relationships that are perfectly normal and they just have 10 bodies and that's perfectly okay. And there are no correlations to anything mentally wrong. The literature doesn't show that. Like anxiety and depression don't go up when you have a higher body count.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, do you disagree with the literature? Like, what part do you disagree with?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, like I haven't seen those studies. I'm not really familiar with that. Um, I don't think it would necessarily be like cases of anxiety or depression within these individuals going up. I do think there's a lot of people who tend to discount the effects of doing a sexual act with another human being. Um,
What are the
it's a lot.
psychological measurable things that you could attribute to that? Like, if you don't know, that's cool because like you're not a
What'd you say?
psychologist. Like, what are the measurable psychological effects of having sex with
Ooh.
multiple people that are negative in your mind? Like you can say like vague things like oh you feel bad or whatever, but like that
Mm,
thing can't be easily measured. And like if it's something that
yeah, I
qualitative,
don't.
then like I would say that the best way to do it is measure their anxiety or depression because although
Yeah,
not everyone
I
will
get what you're
have like
saying.
their not everyone will have that extreme of a reaction, but if there is a correlation, then clearly there is a negative effect to it, right?
That's
And
true, but I
but
wouldn't
there
say
is
it's
but there
necessarily
is
like anxiety or depression. It's a little bit something less, I guess, quantitative. You can't really measure it. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, like I was feeling like a 6.5 before I slept with 100 dudes, and now I feel like a six. You know, it's not like a slight dip or a
I know
slight decline.
since you
This is
slept with 100 dudes, you're
object.
speaking from experience right now, but like you can't measure 6.5 on a scale of one to
Like, what
10.
does
Like
that mean? You know, like
yeah, you don't
I
even know what that means.
I made two doc. I made two. I went to the fucking psychiatrist twice a month, and then I fucked 100 guys, and now I'm going 4 times a month. Like that's not like a. One, how do you even measure like anxiety or depression? Like how does that? How does one measure that? Is it always
Diagnoses
like
of depression and anxiety. Like how many people
okay,
have the diagnosis of anxiety or depression by a clinical psychiatrist?
okay?
I think that's the
I
best
don't know
way to.
about that.
I think
I
that's the
think that's a
best
little bit of
way to
a
measure something quantitatively without like.
quantitatively, yeah, we don't really have anything better to measure it quantitatively. But that's what I was saying. I don't think you really can. It's a qualitative issue rather than like a quantitative issue. You can't really. I don't think there's a really way you can kind of put numbers behind it.
Well,
Um,
if that's the case, then it's very hard to prove what you're saying, and it's non-falsifiable, which I don't think we're gonna get
True.
anywhere with. So let's move on to something more unfalsifiable, like the existence of God.
Mm.
you,
Okay.
I'm a little confused, so I'll ask your stance again. You said like something about being like agnostic or something like that, but then you said that you believe that there is a God that exists. Like, what's your opinion? What's your take on that?
Yeah, agnostic means you don't really subscribe to any specific religion or denomination. But like, I don't go to church, you know. But I think there's God. Um,
Um, that's not
specifically,
really that's not really what agnostic means. Agnostic means that you don't believe that there's enough proof to believe that God exists. What you're referring to is more like non-denominational or whatever, which means that you don't subscribe to a denomination of like say Christianity or whatever. Hello,
all
hello.
right, my bad. I had to look at the definition of agnostic. Um,
Oh, did you
apparently,
hear
yeah,
me?
I didn't know that. Agnostic means like, oh, I'm on the fence about it. Yeah, I guess I'm not on the fence about it. I'm pretty set on one side of the fence.
So you would be non-denominational.
I suppose, yeah. I don't really. I don't fuck with any specific religion. You can't catch me at a church, bro. Not gonna
Fair
lie.
fair enough. Honestly, I do want to go to. I visited the Vatican actually in Italy. And I've been to other churches. I'm very open minded to
Did you
other
go
religions.
downstairs?
No, I didn't.
Downstairs.
All right, give me a second. Let me use the bathroom real quick.
You should have went downstairs, bro. Fuck. I can't see the live chats, bro. Oh my god. Wait, no shot. I can click on the fucking text messages from Max, but I can't see them. This is actually homosexual. I can remove him off the stream right now. Oh shit! I saved a highlight. Whoops. Do I look light skin, y'all?
Okay, what's up, guys? Max says God exists because of morality's existence, but that's a interesting argument. But I want to hear Jaden's idea
What
of
did you
why
say?
he believes God. Max said that God exists because of morality's existence, but I want to hear your opinion on why you think God exists.
Okay. Um. Hmm. Why do I think God exists? Why do you think God doesn't exist?
Because there's no proof for it. Like I would identify as an agnostic.
Okay. Um. Like, there's no tangible empirical proof that God exists. Therefore, you don't know. You can't
Yes.
subscribe to anything. Okay.
I'm also not non-religious. I'm a Buddhist, but I'm a Hinayana Buddhist, which means I don't believe in a god in Buddhism. Like I don't believe that the Buddha was a god. I just think he was a person to whom I can subscribe my principles and morality to, which kind of discredits,
You don't think he was like
at
building an
least in my
empire?
framework. At least in my framework, it discredits the idea that God exists because of morality's existence. A morality can exist via, like, say, the Buddha or any other figure, including God, by your own logic, that these principles are something that you should adhere to in spite of a God existing. But what were you saying?
Could you repeat that right there? I didn't really understand that fully.
So Max is saying that God exists because of morality's existence, but you can subscribe to somebody like, say, the Buddha or a different religion or philosophy that underpins and creates a moral structure that you can adhere to in
Hmm.
spite of a God not existing.
Okay.
Okay. But that was something I was just responding to Max for in the chat. But if you have a different opinion, like view of why you believe in God, then I'm also interested to hear that.
Yeah. Okay. So I went over this in my video. I think I brought up the example. I couldn't find
The
the
mathematical proof
specific.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't find that.
Yeah,
I
my
couldn't find it.
actually funny story. My calculus teacher, he also told us the exact same proof, and I don't buy it. It makes a lot of assumptions like that, like there has to be like the cause of the world and all of this stuff, but we can't say that for sure. And also in mathematics, there are things like in imaginary numbers, for example, that just don't exist in real life because mathematics doesn't necessarily translate to real life every single time, which is cool because we invented a whole new plane of reality that doesn't actually exist but is true according to the framework and rules. It's almost like a video game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do you not think? Okay. So if it's like a video game, who coded the video game? Like, does the game just exist? Does the game just is the game just
The game
is
just
or?
So you're. It sounds like to me that the reason why you believe in God is because there's so much structure and order that there
Mhm.
is nothing. There has to be a creator for it. Is that like an accurate assumption?
Somewhat. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you correct me on anything that like sounds off or?
Yeah, specifically like not necessarily the order, but like the probability that we have gotten to such a point in society, in life, period, on the planet that we live on, within the noble knowledge of our solar system, we've gotten so far to understand mathematics. We've gotten so far to understand philosophy. We've gone through so many different I guess evolutions within our society, within our life as humans on this planet, it kind of it it doesn't really make sense that there wouldn't be some sort of like higher power or like entity that I guess created everything, or is like a moderator, like an admin in a video game, just looking at all the different players playing the game.
Hmm. So like that's an argument a lot of people make, and I'll ask you this: if you see a beautiful mountain, like say we live in Arizona, the Grand Canyon, do you believe that someone, a creator, like sculpted it out and made it,
No.
a human made it out? No, because things that are beautiful and complicated, nuanced, convoluted, don't have to come from a specific creator.
Well, what do you mean by specific creator? You just mean like they just were made by other factors, external sources that like
Yeah, like for
built
example,
out.
like the Grand Canyon was made by erosion and all that. The
Yeah,
reason why we have so much knowledge came from the fact that we have an increased like size of the brain, which was an adaptation in order to like deal well with hunting predators and surviving, and then that eventually turned into agriculture. And because of agriculture, we had so much more sedentary time where we had more free time to like talk and like
and
uh,
ponder.
evaluate things, and because of our increased brain size, we were able to talk and discuss and specialize in labor, and that specialization in labor led to like a specialization, and then it goes further and further, industrial revolution and the like. But all these are
Mhm.
things that are explainable, that don't need a creator to necessarily like justify that, like we needed all of that to be there by an external creator.
Okay, so I'm not really familiar with this, but are you familiar with like the Big Bang?
Yeah,
Like
I
that the universe is like ever expanding.
Yeah, that was created by a Catholic priest, and I don't necessarily adhere to that theory, but like I don't know what caused the beginning of the universe, if there is a
Yeah,
beginning of the universe, but the Big Bang presupposes that it is a linear strategy of like a timeline whereby there's a beginning and there's an end. But it could be that it's in a loop and that there is no
yeah.
beginning or end. But what
It's
about
like
the
a
Big Bang?
cycle. Like
Yeah, it
we
could be a
expand and then
cycle.
we contract.
Yeah, but what about the Big Bang?
I was gonna say like what it doesn't really. I don't know. Then like what would be the purpose of life? Like what's I feel like religion gives it's like the ultimate cope for a lot of different people, right? Around the world. It provides them their like backbone for a lot of their philosophy. It answers a lot of questions as to why things happen. Um a lot of things that aren't unexplainable as to like why specific things happen in life, why shit happens to some people and not to others. It gives like specific answers and in like a digestible way for anybody to really understand if they dwell on it enough. And I think that's a good thing up to a point until you get to like people going crazy for the Crusades and like killing people and doing all of that thing, all that extra shit. But I do think that like it does serve as like this ultimate cope, quote unquote, and there isn't really anything that you can kind of subscribe to otherwise. Like, what would you?
So
Because I feel like,
we shifted away from like does God exist and more towards is religion useful? And I agree that religion is useful. I believe in a religion myself, Buddhism. But
for
there's a
sure,
reason why there is no atrocity in human history that has been committed in the form under the name of Hinayana Buddhism. And it's because, unlike Christianity, unlike Islam, unlike all these other religions, there's no creator God that axiomatically and authoritarianly states that you must do this, that, or the other in order to get into like a heaven or hell. Instead, we
hmm
subscribe to an idea of an impermanence and of reincarnation that doesn't have to be taken literally in the supernatural, artificial sense, but in the
yeah,
sense that like karma, you get what you give out, right?
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
agree with
and
that.
that's a better quote unquote ultimate cope than say Christianity, which subscribes to a heaven and hell and has an ultimate overseeing God that's a jealous God that says don't have any gods before me. and then has all these horrible stories in the Bible that justify horrible things, and a misinterpretable Bible that can say things like Leviticus 18:22 about homosexuality, for example, and much worse things, by the way.
Okay, so what? I'm not really familiar with Buddhism, honestly, besides
Mhm.
like, basic stories about the Buddha. But what do you guys have like a book or anything like that, or?
Oh, we have a couple, but Hinayana Buddhism is a lot like Protestantism and Christianity. It's not exactly like that, but the point is we don't follow the book to the exact T. Like one of the first stories about the Buddha that you'll read, I think it's about an elephant and about how these people who are non-believers are criticizing the Buddha, and he says, "Don't worry about the people who criticize them because they have their own opinions and their own like disagreements, and I might be wrong too." So like one of the key principles is to also just hear out other people and be compassionate towards those who you don't disagree with, which is contradictory in a lot of ways to other religions. Like later on, if you follow Quranic abrogation, Islam says a lot about stuff like forcibly converting other people to
Mhm.
Islam, for hurting them if they're not people of the book, like one of the followers of Abrahamic religion.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Did you follow that, or do I need
Yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah. You basically made like the point that like Buddha's hella chill, and there's no recorded instances of aggression or anything like that. There's no pointable instances of any of the books or any of the scholars saying like, hey, like wage war. Nobody does that in Buddhism, and there's many instances of that being recorded within the Abrahamic religions, which
Specifically Hinayana Buddhism, by the way, because Hinayana Buddhism is the one that doesn't subscribe to like a great god in the sky, or that Buddha was a god, or
so
like
traditional Buddhism believes in Buddha as the god.
some forms of Buddhism. Like I wouldn't say the traditional form of Buddhism. It's debatable. There's a lot of like debate going around it. Like I won't get into how complicated it is. It's like the different, like how Christianity has different sects. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have like the Protestants, you have the Catholics, you have the non-denomination, like you are, right? It's equally as complicated, and all of the different like forms of
I
Buddhism to
wouldn't
me are
necessarily call
really valid.
myself at like anything in there. I'm the most educated on, I guess, that form of religion. I wouldn't really, because non-denominational, I guess, kind of assumes that you're like a Christian or a Catholic. I don't really subscribe to
Th-
that.
Then a better term for you might just be a theist, meaning someone who believes in God.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a better accurate label for you. But in any case, like a theist would be in disagreement with someone who believes in, like, say, Hinayana Buddhism.
Okay.
So my
So
greater
there's
point
no
is
God in Hinayana Buddhism.
no. But
Everything
my
is just
point
related.
is, yeah, my point is that the existence of a God is not only untrue, but as we shifted away from the "does God exist" argument, we move towards "is religion useful?" And I
Mm.
agree, but only when there is no God in it. Because when, not that it's not useful, but when there is a God in it, it leads to axiomatic violence and authoritarian ideas that can be misinterpreted and enforces a lack of critical thinking.
Hmm. That's an interesting point.
If it's if it's too convoluted, you don't understand anything, or if you just need more time to ponder about it, that's okay. We can move on to the last part.
No, that's definitely an interesting point. I think there's also a lot of different like instances in specifically in the New Testament of like Jesus kind of having the same vibe as what you're talking about. There's a lot of instances of him. This is all a book written by dudes, of basically their recounting of what he said, what he did, how he acted. Um, I don't think that he did a lot of the things that like um, the book claims him to have done. I kind of think that like kind of like bigged him up a little bit. But I do think he was a pretty chill dude. I think he was just a normal guy who was probably hella chill, hella vibey. Didn't really go around, being a dickhead to people.
Mm.
That's my interpretation of it from my education on Catholicism. Because there's a lot of different things that he turned water to wine, he walked on water, things of that nature, and it's like
Is
maybe he
that
did,
true?
maybe he didn't. Yeah, like I don't know. I wasn't there, dude.
Mhm.
Um, and the dudes who made the book, like for example, if you die, and I'm like, yo, Ryan, cool ass dude, yo, let's make a book about Ryan, and we're just gonna glaze you, and like you can't come back and be like, yo, no, I didn't do that. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like,
apparently, the guys who wrote the book said that he can come back and that he's also all knowing
yeah,
and has all these things. I can resonate with the idea that there are historically, as a historical figure, Jesus was a pretty quote unquote chill dude. And
hmm
I think that there are a lot of similarities between the Buddha and Jesus that resonate. And I think that also, like, the, obviously, because other religions affect each other, like Christianity took some ideas from Buddhism and and eventually after Christianity was formed, Buddhism took also other ideas from Christianity. Like for example, like this isn't from Buddhism, but like the golden rule in Christianity and Catholicism, it
you
is
don't
to
want to
treat
others
others.
as
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
hmm
actually is a Confucius quote from the Chinese, which was invented centuries before that, which is "Do unto those what you would, how you would want to be done unto you," or something like that.
yeah.
But like compassion, treating people well, and turning the other cheek, all these things are great ideas. But the problem is that religion and having a god makes it so axiomatic and authoritarian to a degree where you can. What about ancient aliens, Max? Okay, anyway, it makes it
You might be onto
so
something.
authoritarian and axiomatic that it drives people to do things that are inherently immoral, like the Crusades, for example.
hmm
It's a necessary thing that happens when you have a religion that believes in a god.
Okay, but one thing that I know a lot of people within like these theistic monotheistic religions would say is that like if there isn't a god, if there isn't like a final truth, final say, then who is to say what is right or wrong,
The
because I could
Buddha.
be raised in a world, exactly, I could be raised in a world where there is no religion, there is no final truth, there is no god. um Everything is just how it is. You ball, do unto others as you would do unto you. And I could be raised in a society where murder is normal, and
Yeah, but if you
killing
don't,
others is
if you
a normal
follow what
thing.
Confucius says, if you follow what Confucius says, you don't want to be murdered, right? So you would not do unto others
Maybe,
as you would want done unto you.
maybe you do.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just an example, right? If you follow a religious structure like, say, Buddhism or Confucianism, which isn't a religion but a philosophy, like China was the longest civilization in history and followed predominantly those two religions. Like they were super successful, super plentiful, and I mean, I'm not just glazing my home country because I like
There
China.
you go.
Like
You're stacking
China right
cherries
now, I
on it
don't.
right now.
China right now, I don't really like, but like, I'm just saying, when they followed Confucianism and Buddhism, they were very and wildly successful, and that's something that is proof that a society can function without a god,
I agree. I agree.
and that they don't murder each other violently all the time.
But they had like a government during the time, and they had like rules and structure,
Yeah, and they didn't
which
need a
kind of
god to
goes
do that.
against. Okay.
Yeah, and that
So
was a perfectly
instead of
functioning
it being
society.
like instead of it being God said this, it's the government.
Well, not necessarily. It's more like Confucius said this, and he is a philosopher to whom we subscribe to because his ideas are great and the education that he promotes shows that this is a great thing to follow, and that did justify some pretty horrible things like foot binding and other sexist ideas and filial piety. But
Yeah.
like other philosophies that came later, like Taoism or Buddhism, actually Taoism and Buddhism emerged like way earlier. But in any case, those ideas did not promote any bad, like horrible foot binding, sexist things, right?
Okay.
Ancient
So
China was kind of messed up, like with the foot binding and sexism and filial piety. And I
yeah.
also did talk religion with Ramsey Dewey, and Max is talking about talking religion with Ramsey Dewey. And one of the key points that I want to put forth that I also talked about with Ramsey is that you shouldn't demean others because of what they believe in what their religion
Yeah.
like taught, because like ultimately, like if they aren't committing to their actions based on their religion, they're not a bad person. They just believe in other stuff that you don't agree with. And that's how Ramsey and I get along. And Ramsey is a hard, like down to earth Mormon, and like Mormonism is a religion that I have huge problems with. But I still get along with him and I still talk to him.
Not for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's like a very idealist perspective of like, nah, dude, like we're all chill, just do you, like in a society, I feel like that's gonna people are this is a this is something we talked about in Catholic school actually, of like the two schools of thought within Catholicism, of like I think it's like Dominicans and Franciscans scholars. And I think it's Dominican scholars believe that like humans are like inherently bad people or like bad actors, and then Franciscans like think that everybody's good. And these are kind of like two schools of thought within Catholicism and like the priesthood and things of that nature. I'm probably butchering it right now, but this is kind of how it works a little bit, or like two
That's
schools of
familiar, yeah.
thought. Um, and I don't know. I think assuming everyone is, always acting in, positive, good vibes, best interest, it's kind of obviously not, like everybody has bad days, everybody, says things that are probably not nice. Nobody's perfect, essentially, is the point I'm making. And I'm not saying
Yeah,
everybody is, bad.
I agree.
I'm not saying everybody is, out to get you or anything like that, but to have like to construct a society based off of like, oh, this is our rule set, and we're going to continue amending the rule set, and we have no other, callback to look at besides this dude's words. I think you're kind of even. I'm not saying um, a flawed system for both, or like only Buddhism or only Christianity can only benefit. Or these are things that it's like humans are going to continue to finally find ways to fuck up and leave like plot holes or plot points of like, oh shit, I didn't even think of that. And um, there's always going to be something that like for example, something that could benefit me can like absolutely fuck you. You know,
I agree.
everything's kind of like a give and take. So and with our emotions, like if I do something that benefits me, and I don't think it's that bad, and it doesn't fall under like any specific policy, but it really aggravates you, that's going to build up animosity in that person, no matter what that person is, and to assume that they would just like let it go and be like, ah, nah, woosah, bro, we're chill. Like that's like a very idealist
Naive thing to say.
perspective.
Yeah. I also think that's naive, which is why I don't believe in like a complete like an atheist hard against all religion and philosophies idea.
Mhm.
But like the same way you can like reference the Bible and people don't listen is the same way that people you can point to a Confucius book or a Buddhist book and refuse to believe it just because like they just don't believe it. But both of
Yeah,
those have the same authoritarian like sorry, not authoritarian, authority backing that
yeah,
like a Bible would have, for example.
for
And
sure.
just because, like, for example, Protestant, as opposed to Catholicism that takes like the Bible verses literally, Protestants have like the same ideas where, say, for example, like even though they don't follow every verse word for word, they still have a moral backing to them that is referenced by the Bible, of course. But like you can have the same thing with Buddhism, you can have the same thing with Confucianism. Just because you don't have a God doesn't mean that you don't have a moral backing to which you can reference. Also, to referred to something that was said in the live chat. Someone said that it is because the Chinese history was 4,000 years old. However, times was not because of the last couple of dynasties. Foot binding was not Han Chinese. Foot binding was not in the Han dynasty. It was in the Song dynasty predominantly. And the last couple of dynasties were the most horrific times, but that was not under Confucius or Buddhist rule. It was under communist rule, which also is vehemently against religion. Like Karl Marx,
Yeah.
who is the inventor of communism, said religion is the opium of the people,
Yeah.
and that's well after they stopped practicing like a philosophy like Confucianism or a religion like Buddhism as their primary practice.
For sure. Um. Hmm.
I think this topic is really convoluted, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
uh like mixed stuff, and like you have to really think about it. Like you'll be thinking about this stuff like staring at your roof in like
Mhm.
2 in the morning because you played Overwatch for too long or whatever, or you'll think about it in the
I don't
shower
play that
like,
game anymore, man.
good for you, man. I'm so proud of, like, legitimately I'm proud of you for quitting, like like legitimately, bro. That
I
it's like,
stopped playing, bro. It was like fentanyl, bro. It's like I quit fentanyl.
oh God, bro, like that's horrible. But in any case, I think that we can come visit this topic sometime later, but like
Mhm.
give it some time to marinate, some time to cook, so you don't get cooked in this debate like you are right
That's
now.
fucked up. I don't think I'm getting
But
cooked. I feel like I still,
I
because
don't think
like
you're getting
the
cooked.
whole God versus like God, like no God existence debate, like it really just comes down to the person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and like how
people
their
walk
brain
in
is
with
wired
their
of
ideas
like,
already.
it makes sense, or like, it doesn't make sense. Why would I believe that? You know, it's like people are gonna be like, oh no, it's like illogical to think that, and then people are gonna be like, oh no, it's illogical to think that, and they could be on both sides of the spectrum of like, oh no, God exists or God doesn't exist. You know, so I personally, I just think it's a little bit like that's a large assumption to make that like God doesn't exist, or at least not like a God, but like light as like a concept. Um, period, and all of the things that come along with it, like physics. Like it's just too much, you know, for it
I
not
don't
to
think that's an
be.
assumption to make at all. Like, first of all, I'm not making the assumption. I'm actually agnostic, whereby I don't believe that there's enough proof to believe that a God exists. The illness on something existing is on you to prove it, as opposed to the person who just doesn't believe it. Right?
I'm lagging right now. I can't
Did I
really understand
freeze?
you.
Hello?
I was
Oh,
I was
so
lagging. I didn't really hear you.
I'm not saying I'm making the assumption that God doesn't exist. I'm an agnostic, meaning that I don't think that there's enough proof to believe that a God exists. When you're saying that something exists, right? You have to have the illness and burden of proof on you to prove that it does exist. And saying that things are complicated and things that are beautiful deserve a creator and necessitate a creator isn't good enough, because like the Grand Canyon analogy that we made earlier, like
Mm.
even though the Grand Canyon is beautiful, complicated, nuanced, all that, it doesn't have a human creator. It just means that erosion, all of these things created it in a way that was beautiful and just happened to be there. And there are loads of explanations for humans and how we came to be and how advanced we came to be via like how big our brains are, agriculture, metallurgy, all of those things. And those are accurate and well-meaning interpretations to have for why there isn't a God,
Okay.
and why it doesn't necessitate a like a greater creator, and having a beginning of the universe, or having light needing to be a certain spectrum, or any of those scientific inquiries, which are valid inquiries, like those don't necessitate a creator either, because there are scientific ways to explain around it. And having a creator at all necessitates that there's a beginning of the universe, which we don't know happened, right?
So you think that everything could be explained through science and math
No,
or
no,
physics?
not everything can be explained through science and math and physics. That's why we're still studying. If that were true, then I would just
You know,
open up my
like once we get to a
textbook
certain
and
point,
ask,
like in the
well,
future, if we're still around, like we'll have
no,
like all the answers
because
past a certain point.
no, because eventually we're gonna die in the heat death of the universe, and there will still be more questions that we can have answers. and we don't know what's outside the universe. And the creator could have made processes like erosion, like Max said, to make the Grand Canyon, but it's the illness is on you to prove that that creator exists, as opposed to me who just doesn't believe it. Right? The burden of proof is on you.
Yeah.
But
That's
in
true.
any case, like I said earlier, these are very convoluted, very nuanced topics that require a lot of understanding and depth too. And I don't think we're going to get through all of it today. I think it would be a better use of our time to let that marinate a little bit, let you stare at your rooftop a little bit, thinking, what was Ryan saying? Is he crazy? Is he an idiot? Or does he have a point?
This
Right?
dude is a fucking Asian idiot, bro. Oh my god.
Uh, Asian idiot makes it
Yeah, I just had to
more
let that out.
valid. If I
Yeah, it
am
does.
Asian, that makes me more of an idiot.
Mhm.
Yes, of course. Anyway,
This
so
Asian
clip that
only
out of
believes in math,
context,
bro.
Max.
The math has
Clip
gone
that
to
out
his
of
head.
context, Max. Clip that out of context, Max. Goofy odd debate part two. Max, the only active viewer on our stream is Asian, and you decided that although he was supporting your claim that God does exist, you're going to alienate him by saying you're an Asian idiot, specifically Asian. In
Well,
fact, I think you
Max
could have
isn't
done
an
better
Asian
by saying
idiot.
that.
Max is an Asian based guy. You're the
See,
Asian idiot.
see, if
See if
anything,
somebody was like, "Oh, this guy's a black idiot," I'd be like, "He's got you there." Like if he's black, that's not a stray to me. That's just an observation of fact.
so you're taking the Boondocks approach. It's like that's not an insult. That's an astute observation.
Yeah, that's just an objective that he just put at the beginning of the sentence, dude. Like that's
All
not
right, but
offensive.
all right. Here's the thing. I'm not offended by it, but I'm saying you can get more creative with it and not just be straight up racist. Like there
Oh,
has
for
to be
sure,
like
100%. I took
there's
the
got to be
easier
a
route.
punchline to it. You know what I mean? Like you gotta. See, you're already doing good, right? You're just like Asian idiot. If you said an idiot Asian, then like the primary thing that you're attacking is the fact that I'm Asian.
Yeah,
But you gotta add
exactly.
something more to that. Like,
No, I don't.
this guy's hoodie is the same color as his skin, bro. He doesn't even know color grading, you know? Like you gotta add some extra flair to it so it's funny and racist. Otherwise it's just racist, bro.
No, how is that racist? It's just it's literally just an observation. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh, he's just an Asian idiot.
but you're okay, so when you're insulting
You're
somebody,
just an
right?
Asian idiot. Like that's not doesn't mean like I
Okay,
hate
so
Asians. It's like you're just an idiot that is that is
that
Asian.
okay, you can be an
But
idiot that
like
happens to
you
be
said, if I
Asian, right?
said this
But
guy's an Asian
while you're
Asian, it's
insulting
like,
somebody, right? It's like while you're insulting somebody, you don't put like something like positive or neutral about them. You the entire thing has to be an insult, right? And
that's a
like I'm
stupid
saying,
black box. If I say that's a stupid black box, it's the black just is an observation about the box. That's a stupid thing.
yeah, but like it's like why does it matter that it's
Because I
black?
want it to be specific. Because I want it to be specific to this object or entity
No,
that I'm referring to.
actually, you weren't talking about this idiot. You were talking about the black idiot over there, or actually, no, the white idiot over there, or the
Yeah,
Mexican
exactly,
idiot over
exactly. Like
there.
I don't want it to be. I
You
don't want
don't
it to be
you don't want to be
confused.
confused with
I
like
don't
the
want it to be
no
confused.
other
I want
people
it to
that
be
are
like
here.
this guy right here, this individual right here. Just so I'm not Asian. This Asian idiot right here. That's what I'm referring
No,
to.
I no. See, here's the thing, man. There are just so many people around me that you had to be specific and refer to them as Asian, even though literally everyone else in
That's a bold
everyone
assumption.
else in the
That's a
chat
bold
is
assumption.
also Asian.
That's a
Okay.
bold. I don't know. I
Okay.
can't see the chat, so
Wait,
I don't know.
wait. Are you seeing the live chat, bro? Someone
I
said
can't
Jaden
see.
would
I
be.
have to, bro.
Wait,
I
wait.
click on it and it pops up the fucking their message, but it's just a black screen, so I have to like click like a minesweeper.
It's someone said Jaden would be the dude to
The
like
dude
race
to like
play in the
raise play in the
bedroom.
bedroom. What the fuck, dude?
I can see that. Is it a human cognitive bias when two words are next to each other, we assume they are related? We're not saying that they're related. I'm just saying like when you're insulting somebody, you gotta like if you're being racist about it, you gotta give it a little more flair. You know what I'm saying? Like it can't
I
just be
wasn't being
racist.
racist about it. I was just like
Okay,
an observation.
racism.
It's like I just put an objective at the beginning of the noun, dude. I'm just describing the noun,
You
so
mean
it
an
has more
adjective?
specificity.
Jaden can't see that chat. My day is ruined. Oh my god. And it's okay, Max. I'm reading out all your messages. But in any case,
I'm like here just clicking it,
yeah, of course.
like
In any
spamming
case,
it.
my point is not that like not that like you can't make racist jokes. I'm saying you got to make them funnier.
And I'm just saying I wasn't a racist joke. I was just calling
But
you Asian
what?
and an
So
idiot.
you're making a joke, including the race in it, referring specifically to my race. Racist means that you're discriminating based on race. You're
Oh
discriminating me as opposed to the other people around here based on race.
That's how you look right now. That's how you look right
You
now.
even have the glasses on.
You
That's
idiot
you, bro.
Asian. You see, that's racist. You see, that's racist. If I said idiot Asian, because that's the only thing that's in the
No. But
it,
like I said, that's a good thing that you're doing. You add the Asian before the insult as opposed to the predominant thing. Like it's not the noun that you're doing; it's an adjective, right? So you're already doing better, right? But you got to
no,
add
no,
some more
no, no,
flair so
no.
it's funnier
But if I
because
call
it
you an
wasn't a
Asian
funny
idiot,
insult.
I'm just describing you as the Asian idiot. That's
I like
that's
how we're having I like how we're having more clash about whether or not
this
your
is
joke is
no, because
funny.
I'm not conceding on this point, bro. I'm not
I like
conceding
how
on
we're
this
having
point.
more clash that whether or not your joke is funny or not than
It's
whether
not even
God
about the funny.
exists or
It's
not.
just an astute observation, bro. It's there's no joke. There's nothing supposed to be
There
funny.
is an
I
art
said that
to
shit
racist
straight
jokes. There
face,
is an
nigga.
art to
Like
racist
there's
jokes.
nothing funny about it.
Okay, but like you gotta add. But like it's just
I
such a
don't
dry
got.
insult.
Not
Like
everything
if
needs to
I
be
just say
funny,
you're
bro.
stupid, bro. If I just say you're
If I
stupid,
just
bro.
said you're
That's so
stupid,
boring. That's
you're
so
stupid,
boring, bro.
Asian idiot.
See, that's so boring though. You gotta add some more
It doesn't
flair.
need to be. It doesn't. You don't have to add spice to everything, bro.
See, that's the white part coming out on you, man. Don't
My
gotta add
bad.
spice to everything.
My bad.
See how that's funny, right? You talk about spice and being white. See, you laughed in the beginning. Rewind that real quick. You literally laughed. You literally laughed, bro. See, they're saying facts. Humor is difficult. Whatever. There is an art to racist jokes. Absolutely. This guy in the
For
live
sure.
chat, he understands what I'm talking about.
For
But
sure.
anyway,
For sure.
moving on. Moving on. We're talking about the last part, the
Oh, of
last
course,
video
the
that I
Asians are
watched.
fucking agreeing with each other. Oh my god. I clicked the chat and Ryan is so funny. You called in your supporters, you called in your family members. Is this what you're doing? Is this what you're doing? You're view buying my stream
Okay,
right
so
now?
just because they're
You,
Chinese, just because they're Chinese or
you called
Asian,
in your stream,
I
bro.
am black.
This is what.
Wait, so just because
No,
they have
you're
a Chinese
not. No, you're
username
not,
means
pal.
they're Asian? Just because
No,
they
you're
have a
not.
Chinese, bro? I know bro, like Alex Xavier or Jeremiah in the group chat. He had Sharingan eyes when he came into the thing, and he has like I think he has a Japanese. It's either him or Alex Xavier has a Japanese name as his thing. Like I don't know why. I mean, you literally have anime posters in the background there with Asian shit. Like let's be for real. Let's be for real.
I watch all my anime in dub, so I actually didn't even know that was an anime.
Okay? How do you have glasses? How do you have glasses and then watch your anime in dub?
I don't watch my anime in dub.
Actually, I watch my anime in dub sometimes because also because the glasses
Yeah, you
thing.
just lost 5 Asian points. I'm not gonna
My
lie. You
girlfriend.
just lost five
Well,
Asian points.
actually, it's for my girlfriend who's also Asian because she takes
Oh
her
my
contacts
god, that's
out
a
at
stacking
night.
debuff. Holy shit. That's a
Yeah,
stacking
yeah, yeah.
debuff.
She takes
Your
her
kids are
contacts
cooked.
out, so she can't read the subtitles. So she just puts it on dub.
Hey man, that sounds like a cop out to me, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you were a real Asian, you would just understand the words from the screen, like by
There
default.
are different types of Asians, bro. Like
Now this
Japanese
guy's
sounds
making
nothing
shit
like
up now. Like,
Chinese.
you're just lying. You're just coming up with shit out of your ass.
Do
Like,
you understand Spanish?
un poquito.
Okay, we're not even gonna go there. We're not even gonna go there.
Un poquito.
Okay, last video we're gonna talk about trying new things.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. What was like the main point of your video there? Like trying new things and like having I remember one of the points in your video that like having that video game competitive urge is the same itch that you scratch when you like compete in martial arts or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like competition is like a really big part of my life. I like competition. Um, and yeah, I was feeling that like that I was feeling that need that itch by playing video games, and I got really good at it. And then I was like, this is like so unhealthy for me. I'm sure you can relate with fighting. and your knees.
So real. Hey, I can
But
also relate with Batman Arkham games and Pokemon.
but were you playing them for? Were you like yelling at the top of your screen?
No, because
You're,
I had a more mature brain than you did.
no,
But
because it's a
that's to
single
do
player
with
game and
evolution.
nobody's calling you a dumb idiot. You see
Pokemon is not a
that's
single.
offensive. You see that when somebody is like specifically attacking your character, attacking your being, it gets a little more personal, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna call you a slur now. Like you've gotten this
Oh,
over
okay.
last game.
So I had people insulting me, but it did not mean that I wanted to call them a slur.
Bro, no, you obviously haven't played enough video
Okay.
games.
Okay, I tried to make this the last topic because I was trying to like turn it around and like give you some compliments because I mentioned the video game thing to Ramsey Dewey on the podcast and be like, "Yo, actually, this dude Jaden in the Sanda club at ASU, he actually
Just doxed my
scratches
shit.
the same."
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna
Yes,
turn it
I did.
around and put it as a compliment and be like, "Yo, that's actually a great thing." And then like this competitive urge that you do to play video games, but no, you have to be like, "No, I want to call you a slur because you said bad things to me in a video game."
Yeah.
Someone said this is
What were
not
you
League of
saying? What was
Legends,
your point?
bro.
Like you were saying, like video games, like
The
are like a good
competitive
thing, or
urge, the competitive urge is the same as like fighting, for example, and it's something primal that we all have.
okay, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
we just like find different ways to express it. You know?
yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, fighting is both healthier and more unhealthy than that because, like, of course, there's a risk of injury.
You can get like physically injured,
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean,
Uh,
true, and then like also, I think video games, although
also, just
they're
deteriorate your mental and physical health by sitting down all day. So I mean, like
yeah,
keep
and then
avoiding.
you can lose brain cells by listening to people calling you slurs all day as well. I mean, that's another way
True.
of
Yeah,
losing
you
brain
can get
cells.
into really long arguments with dumbasses on your team, and then like having to listen to the dumbasses talk for so long, it just by like a a
I
secondary
actually
effect, you lose your IQ points
Actually,
over
I
time.
think that's not just a thing that happens with video games. I think it also happens specifically with the ASU Sana team on a YouTube live. But
Uh,
besides that,
I
I think
agree.
that
I
there
agree.
are other differences, right? And I think that also like video games are a lot more popular than martial arts, at least like in terms of people
Yeah,
who watch them. Like
100%.
if you go pro in like MMA, for example, you're probably going to be making 20-40K. But if you go pro as a video gamer, not only
You're
are you not
making
taking, you're
you're
making a
not
lot
making any
more.
money. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Well, I shouldn't. I should say like at the highest level, like the people who are getting paid as like champions or whatever, the video gamers are making more money than the fighters. I would say. Like Markiplier makes more money than Habib does.
But he's not like a Markiplier. Isn't like he's not
Competitive
competing
gamer.
in face it tournaments, and he's not fucking grinding out face it or like CS tournament. He's not a professional gamer. He's just like a content creator who plays video games. There's a
Oh,
lot of
that's
people who are
fair.
like the actual competitive gamers who are like on teams, scrimming every day,
Hmm.
playing basic tournaments. They're not getting paid. They're doing it for free, like often every time.
Mm,
And like they only really get paid if you come in like first or second or third or like top five teams out of like 200 or 300, which
mm.
is difficult to do to say the least. Which
Yeah, fair.
I think honestly it's honestly more difficult to like get at least some amount of money out of like video games or certain video game tournaments than um martial arts. I'm not gonna lie.
Really.
At
Okay,
least in
well
terms of
that's
like
something I didn't know.
competition.
That's actually that's something I didn't know, and like having heard that and seeing some of the things in chat, I think I changed my opinion on that. Someone said in the chat that like eSports makes basically no money, but streaming makes a lot. I think
Yeah,
yeah, that's a fair
yeah,
point.
exactly.
The reason why I bring up Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson, as Max is saying in the group, says like Mighty Mouse when he wins like a championship, world championship, I was like,
Yeah, versus Elden Ring.
I was like, ah! And I
Yeah,
was like,
exactly. It's way
like,
it's especially since it's competitive as well. Oftentimes, like a Fortnite tournament, right? You drop
Mhm.
in, like, I don't know if you've seen a Fortnite tournament, but like,
No, I have.
especially a LAN. Okay, in order to get invited to a Fortnite tournament or like an invitational, you need to already be a certain rank. Like, you need to have like a name for yourself within the community. So whether that through streaming or like TikTok clips or just being so fucking cracked at the game that you're winning almost every game on like high ladder, high ranked, and you're hopping into these games with of hundreds of people and placing consistently, like top 20 or top 30, or
Mhm.
and you're fragging out, and you're doing this for a long enough time to get noticed by people who are structuring a tournament. And from there, they'll invite you to a typically it's like a trial run, or I
Mhm.
guess like a seeding run. I don't really know how to like basically they invite a bunch of people and then they kind of like run them through to get the actual 100 players that they want to invite to the LAN. So you can join this like outside tournament to get inside to the in tournament. And in this outside tournament is basically everybody who's like kind of taking the game somewhat serious. So you're going in there and it's just Sweatville and it's all online. And then from there, it's like typically, if I remember correctly, it goes off a point system. So like winning gives you like 10 points, but every kill gives you like 2 points, right? Or an assist gives you like a point, right?
Mhm.
And you'll hop in and you're just basically after like 5 or 6 or so maps or cycles, whoever has like the most points, the top 100 will get the invite to the actual in-person tournament to even get a
Mhm.
chance to compete for the prize. And then
Mhm.
from there, it goes even lower. And the people at the LAN basically repeat the exact same cycle of trying to get as high of a score as possible to win the entire thing.
Mhm.
So
A lot of steps.
it's often, yeah, it's a lot of steps, extremely hyper competitive, especially in a game like Fortnite where if you land at Tilted Towers and you walk in, you pick up your test, and you get fucking the dually pistols, white pistols, and the dude next to you gets a scar. GG, go next. Like there's a lot of luck involved with it, and of course
Mm.
that really just comes down to the game that you're playing. Um, there's certain games where it's like CS:GO, for example, that isn't super luck based unless you're like, queuing up for a random competitive match one like as a solo. That's really luck of the draw. You might go up against a flash stack. You might go up against a hacker. You might have a lever.
Mhm.
You might have idiots on. There's so many more variables that it's kind of annoying. But like for example, a good cross reference would be like fighting games, so like Smash, for example, right?
Mhm.
Smash is a hyper competitive community of video games or people who play video games that they don't really you don't make a lot of money if you win a Smash tournament, right?
Mhm.
And the people who are at these tournaments and who are winning these tournaments are asses glued to the seat like every day. Like it would be the Smash version of Khabib is going out there and fighting other Khabibs. They're at the gym 24/7. They sleep at the gym floor. They have a piss bottle. They're peeing into the bottle and then getting right back on the next game. They're practicing combos in between. The people on Valorant are fucking in aim labs and on Kovacs 24/7, and that's just to even get a shot. So I'm sort of similar in the points of like you need to be extremely hyper dedicated to a specific sport to like get to a certain point, but it gets to a point where it's like I think also the esports kind of equalizes a lot of genetic and like kind of factors outside of your control that are like immutable characteristics. So, for
Mhm.
example, like if you're 5'3", right? Um,
Shout out me. Shout out
exactly.
me.
If you're 5'3", like you're not gonna really realistically, especially for starting out, it's incredibly difficult for you to try and go out against and you wanna start fighting martial arts, but you're extremely like super small. You probably don't weigh a whole lot in comparison to most people who are already practicing it. You have a way higher learning curve, but
That's
for
not
like
true.
any
That's not
really
true at all. Demetrius Johnson is 5'3" and the
okay,
greatest fighter of
yes,
all
you're gonna
time.
say this. You're gonna bring up like a
Demetrius
bunch of
Johnson is
people.
the greatest fighter of all time and
Oh
5 foot,
my
literally
god.
5 foot. Like if you Google his height, he's literally 5'3". Like not me joking that I'm 5'3", literally 5'3", which is really funny that you say that. But like being
For
smaller
sure.
and being like shorter is an inherent advantage. Like Mike Tyson, really short for his weight class, and he used that to be the best knockout artist of his entire division ever. Right? Because you can get under punches easier. Like for Demetrius Johnson, great wrestler, for example. The greatest
Mhm.
wrestlers of all time, they're super short. Because if you think about it, like if you're trying to shoot for a takedown, being shorter is an advantage, right? And being smaller, it means you're faster. It means that you can go to a more competitive weight class because that means
Okay.
you can cut more weight, right? And then like having shorter, like different limb leverages. For example, like if you have longer legs for your height, you can kick farther, right? That's great, but that means that you're also more easily knee barred, meaning like you could like an arm bar where you like break their arm, but for your knee, right? If you have
Uh,
longer arms, that means sure you have more reach, but that means you can also get arm bar. Like in fighting, I think that like I thought I was actually really wrong about video games in that I didn't think that it was as competitive and there weren't as many barriers to entry, so that it would be like just way easier, or like they didn't require the amount of training because I'm like people play video games anyway, aren't they training for that already? But like I
mhm.
understand when you get, like as you said, when you get to that level,
Yeah.
it gets to the
Once you get past like the regular ranks, people start really taking it
yeah,
serious.
and I think that's the
What
same with
leads you
fighting.
to like
Yeah.
yelling at the top of your lungs at your teammates because they're playing like fucking idiots. Because you want to get to that
Mhm.
point, you know?
I think it's the same with fighting too. Like I
Mm.
love to fight. Like I would like if I never competed in my life, I would just still be fighting because I just love
Yeah,
doing it, right? But it's just
that's
the same way as if no one competed. Like I'm sure a lot of video gamers who do it competitively, if they never like did video game competitions in their life, they would still play video games. But like
yeah,
you have to
exactly.
train to a degree where like you don't like it anymore as much, or like
Yeah.
it just pushes you to a different level. Like the same thing is with martial arts. Also, another thing that we thought that you thought was not analogous, like, oh, if you have a certain body type or whatever, you can't do it or whatever. No, like all those body types are an advantage.
But exactly, you said that certain people have an advantage over like certain people based off of like
yeah, but
immutable
it's an advantage.
characteristics.
But
And
there are
that's still a
advantages.
thing. Like
Yeah,
there's nobody who hasn't like the only thing that I could think about of people having advantages over one another in video games is like outside of like reaction times, age, vision, stuff like that. It would be like, oh, my controller, I have a scuff controller versus you have a normal default controller, or my mouse is a newer mouse, you know, or my keyboard is better, my setup is better. But those are all things that could be improved, you know. It's like your weight, for example. Like you can change your weight, you can't really change your height, you know?
yeah,
Like
but
you can't
like,
change the length of your like arm.
but like I said, the all of those lengths and whether it's short or long or not, all of those can be advantages and disadvantages. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I wish I had shorter legs, even though they're like I have long legs for my height, for example. I wish I had shorter legs so it's harder to knee bar me, for example. Or I had a longer torso and shorter legs so that it would be easier to shoot takedowns and not get taken down myself because there's
Mm.
less legs to grab. Or sometimes I wish I had longer or shorter arms because there's advantages and disadvantages to being everything. And like weight, like especially in some martial arts like jiu-jitsu, doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Like you like in fact being lighter can be an advantage. Like there's this guy Mikey Musumeci who's like 125
The nerd,
pound
the nerd.
champion, and the guy who literally acts and sounds like a nerd with glasses. He has the
Mm.
same glasses you do. He talks like you do. He has like a
Oh,
like autism like you do. Like
what are
all of
you
those
what are you
things,
like
right?
what are you talking about right
But
now? Like
he can fight. Like
what?
he has beaten world champions at
What the fuck,
heavyweight.
dude? What was that?
What?
What you were like talking about like what the fuck was that shit?
See how the insults were funny though.
No, I didn't I
Max is
didn't
laughing at his screen
I
right
didn't think
now.
that shit was funny.
See how you did the transition thing, and I thought that was funnier than the Asian idiot joke.
I
See,
said I said Asian idiot because it wasn't a joke. It was just an observation. There was nothing funny about it.
but you gotta be funny with your insults. That's why you're not
Oh my
entertaining. That's why your
god.
videos don't do good.
You're gonna make me
That's why
kill
you
myself. You're my 13 reasons 13 reasons.
no. I'll be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Put
Nah,
me on that
you're only
suicide
getting
note with
13. You're
with
only
the
getting 13.
paragraphs. With the
You're only getting
paragraphs.
13.
You
It's
can
just gonna be
have. You
your
can have.
name.
No, 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 no,
It's
no, no, no. We're
it's
gonna
gonna be
have
an
screen
unedited video.
recordings.
It's gonna be you saying that, and then just an hour
No,
long
no,
clip
no.
of
We're gonna
rhyming
get
you
screen
across the
recordings
screen.
of this podcast, and we're gonna have
Nah,
13 screen recordings just
no,
for you. Just
no.
for you.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
I'll remind you that there are multiple screen recordings you can take of this video that can get you canceled as well. Hello? I think you froze. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
I think you
Hello.
froze.
Yeah. My mom kept on calling, and I was like, you know.
Oh, you're good, dog. If you need to
Yeah.
take the call, you're good, bro. It's your mom.
Nah,
Hi.
she's telling me to do some
Yeah.
chores. But anyway, like I
Man.
was saying, man, that wasn't funny. I wasn't trying to be funny. If anything, I was just trying to be racist. Nah, I was just,
Oh,
pointing
so
out.
you admit it
No,
now.
no,
So
I'm
you
joking.
admit
See,
it
that was
now.
a joke. That
So
was a joke.
you
That was a
admit
joke.
it
That was a
now.
joke. That was
No,
a
no, no,
joke.
no, 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 no.
No.
Clip
That
that.
was a
Clip
joke.
that.
That was a joke.
Wait.
No.
You gonna watch my clips?
Oh my god. My clips. My
First
clips.
of all, they're not clips. They're mags.
Yeah.
Anyway. Enough
The
of
New York
Sneeko.
education system, everyone. The New York education system on
Mm-hmm.
display. But
Mom,
regardless.
talk to your mom, Max says. Mom is more than goofy odd debate.
True.
Anyway.
She said to throw out the garbage, but I was gonna do that.
Anyway, so while genetics do play a factor in both our sports or sports, I don't know if you would call
Fuck
esports a
you.
sport.
Fuck you. Nah,
I
yeah, I don't know.
okay,
I still
okay.
think so.
Is
I feel like the amount of dedication it takes for like the people who play it, the athletes. I definitely do think.
Do you think chess is a sport?
Yeah,
Okay, never mind. Never mind. You're too far gone. Too far gone. I can't
because
even.
like if
Okay.
you if you think that chess isn't a sport, then I would assume like you don't think esports is a sport. But like
Yeah, I don't
what
think esports
quantifies
is
a
a
sport?
sport.
Like how would you like?
An athletic endeavor in which you compete with other individuals.
Okay, that right there, the athleticism. So okay, so only
Me,
things that are
me
athletic.
exercising my athleticism.
That's a sport.
Wait.
No, but nah, you can't be that can't be chess then by that definition.
Yeah, I agree that
If
chess
it's just a
isn't a
direct
sport.
competition in something, then it could be a sport. But like for example, like shooting, is that athletics? Is that like exercising
Yeah,
athleticism?
bro. Like, do you know like the amount of like athleticism you need to like shoot something is like there's recoil. There like
The
like
recoil doesn't matter up until
shooting.
after you shoot.
Yeah, but like shooting is a very difficult sport. Like being able to like shoot a weapon, like that thing can kill people. Like that's a very difficult thing.
For sure.
You have to move in a way to have the best accuracy. Like that's a physical thing that you
But
have to do.
you're just doing this. Whereas if
Have you
PC,
shot have you shot a
I'm just
gun
doing
before?
this.
My
Have
brother,
I?
have you
Yes,
shot
I've
a
shot
gun?
many. Yeah.
Was it hard to do the accurate thing?
The accurate, like shoot accurately on target,
Yes.
relatively, yeah. But
Yeah,
so is shooting in video games.
yes, but shooting in video games, you do this as
Or
opposed to
you do
shooting in
this.
real life, you have to
You're
move.
doing this.
That's not an athletic endeavor as opposed to holding a gun. Someone in the live chat says, "Yes, that is a huge sport, bro. Esports is not an actual sport. They're spitting facts."
Nah. Okay, so nah, because you're literally sitting here like this. If
Yeah,
that's
that
all
that's
you're
a
doing,
that's a demonstrable oversimplification of what shooting as a sport is.
okay, my bad.
See, if you shot a gun like that, you would have like killed yourself. like
How would you do this? You just
like
hold it,
like
dude.
holding a gun like is very difficult without like hurting yourself.
Yeah.
If you hold a video game controller, there's no the only way
I
you can
can't
hurt
hold it.
yourself
I
with a
can't hold it.
video game controller is if you throw it at your screen and it bounces back at your face because you rage quit.
So because there's a spot because there's like danger involved.
No, not because just because there's danger, but like you need athleticism to hold a gun and shoot it that accurately, hold it for that amount of time. Like Olympic shooting is
You need
like
that. You need
incredibly hard on the
extreme
body.
amounts of. Okay, so that would be like motor skills, right?
No, it's not just motor skills, like being able to like physically holding up a gun, like all like and being able to hold it for a long period of time, being able to aim it in a way to shoot it, like all of these. Like there are like Max is saying in the group chat, there are technical stuff in games, but not to a degree where like you can hold something.
VR.
Calling shooting athleticism is really stretching that definition. No, it's not. It's because it's like
I mean, like
athleticism
VR. What
is
about VR then?
huh
So if, is VR esports? If
VR
by that
like
definition
what
of like
VR. Like if you're
athleticism,
VR boxing, like yeah, I would consider
yeah, like there's
VR
like
like
sports where
VR
like there's
boxing.
a like you have to like throw discs. There's
Yeah, yeah. If you
like
have
you
to
have to
do
like
something
shoot
like
people
that,
and
I
things
would
of that
consider.
nature.
Well,
Okay, that's
not like if you have to if you're playing a video game and you're
you're
shooting
literally
like
like
this, no.
this, like
But
actually
like
like you have
that
like
what
a
I would consider
controller.
a sport. Like VR, like if you're VR boxing, right? Like and
Hmm.
you have the controller in your hand, and you're I would consider that a sport because you're actually
Okay,
moving and like doing something as an athletic endeavor. Moving my mouse is technically athleticism at that point. No, because a mouse doesn't go boom boom when you press it.
and what if I put like something that vibrates in it? Then does that
Well,
dissuade your point?
the vibration doesn't kill somebody if it is aimed
But
wrong.
that doesn't make any sense because you just said that the vibration don't matter. Like the it's
Well,
not about like the
if you're
violence.
moving like this, then that's an athletic thing that requires endurance, like in VR
So is
boxing.
me doing this for 15 hours.
Not really. Like moving your mouse like this does not adequately increase your athleticism.
In my hands, it does 100%. My wrists,
No, it doesn't.
100%.
Like
100%.
if you took a gamer and compared them to the average person in almost like literally any measure of athleticism, flexibility, dexterity, all those things, they would not have any difference in athleticism.
But for their hands, I think there
Like
would be a very noticeable difference
in athleticism, how?
in manipulability or like the way that we're able to exercise our hands or manipulate our hands at a rate in comparison to the average individual. I think it
Strength,
would be,
flexibility, any of those?
huh?
Strength, flexibility, any of those? Like
Probably speed,
speed?
control.
You think their hands would be faster? Like
Yes.
you think
Like
that you
if you
think that
give
a
like a random
gamer's
person if you give a random person a mouse and told them the only way you would be able to measure this is if you put them in aim labs. And the gamer's going to smoke the person who doesn't play video games every time.
obviously if you make the measurement of athleticism video games, then
But
obviously the
it's not
video
aim labs,
gamer,
it's just
but that's
a
not an
trainer. It's an
but that's
inferior
not
trainer.
but that's not a measurement of athleticism though. That's a measure of how good you are at video games. And also
But
like someone
so is
said in the
holding
chat,
a
like
gun.
rock climbers are way stronger and way more like their ability to like grab onto things, for example, like way stronger. By his definition, piano is athletic. I play piano. You have to do exercises with your fingers and constantly train your dexterity. Yeah, I have a piano back there. Like by that definition, pianists are athletes. Like
Bro, I just don't think shooting's a sport, honestly. Like standing
well,
still in a spot and
okay,
holding your
how do you
gun.
think that shooting is not a sport, but that esports are?
I'm not saying I said if you think that shooting is a sport, you have to think that esports is a sport.
If you compare a shooter's like strength like and like fine motor all of their forms of athleticism, they would be better than the average person because like shooting does that to you, like the ability to brace your core for a shot, like that's something that requires a lot of practice, aim, like that's something that requires athleticism as compared to a person can play any person can play a video game. And like someone said in the group chat that by your definition, people who play the piano are athletes because you also have to do this. And I play the piano too, or guitarists are
Technically,
athletes.
if you think about it, yeah. Because if we're allowing the
Okay,
people who
now
shoot
you're going
guns,
too far. Now
no,
you're
because
going
if
too
we're allowing
far.
the people who shoot guns, we have to allow literally everything else. We have to allow people who play chess as well.
Okay, I didn't realize that you believe that chess is a sport, but you have to at least think that people who play piano and guitar, that's not a sport. As someone who also
But by
plays the
your
piano and the
definition,
guitar.
But by your definition of
By my
like,
definition, what
yeah, like,
athleticism do you gain out of piano playing and guitar playing?
dude, what athleticism do you get out of shooting a gun?
Core bracing, endurance, the ability like holding things up
Endurance?
and yes, holding things up and carrying them.
Oh, 15 reps. I'm almost there.
Like
Whoa,
you shot a
what the
gun, right?
fuck
You
is
shot a
that?
gun. You felt the
Yes.
recoil
It's
and
not
the
that
amount you have
crazy,
to core
dude.
brace.
It's genuinely not that crazy.
It's difficult, man. Like at that
It's
high level,
difficult to get rounds
especially,
on target, of course. I'm not saying
and
that.
not
It's
just
difficult to do
like just
anything up
shooting
to
in
a certain point
general.
in skill, of course.
Yeah,
But I'm
and
not
Max
saying that
says
it
like
requires some
pianists.
sort of
Max is saying
Herculean
like
act of
pianists do
physical.
competitions though. Like they compete, right? The same as gamers do.
Yeah,
They have the same like finger skills and all that stuff. In
for
fact, I
sure.
would say that pianists have a better skill level in that respect. But in any case, we don't.
OSU. That's almost OSU. OSU players, put them next to each other, dude. I want to see that happen.
Okay, but put an Osu player on a piano or put an Osu player on grass and see who
There's
does better
on what? On grass?
on grass.
What's that?
Exactly. Anyway, so my
Dude,
point is that
you're just making shit up now.
piano players are not athletes and neither are video gamers.
And neither are people who shoot guns.
People who shoot guns are real athletes and they are some of the highest
Military
level athletes that you
personnel,
will ever.
for sure.
Military personnel are athletes, but it is not a sport.
For sure. But I would not consider that dude who won the Olympics for shooting a pistol at like 100 yards to be an athlete. No.
I would very much consider them to be an athlete and a very high level athlete at that. And someone said in the live chat, I think archery is more athletic than shooting. To be fair, shooting has breath and recoil control, and gun is heavy, but other than that, not much. You're right. Other than like the gun is heavy, breath, recoil control, and bracing, like it doesn't have much. But like to have that level of athleticism, it's very hard. And like archery, especially like you have to pull back the bow.
Yeah.
That's like their backs are insane. Like
Yeah, that's way more of like an athletic endeavor than shooting. But if
I
we're
would
calling
agree, it's
shooting
more of an
a
athletic
sport and
endeavor,
athlete because
but
it
both of
requires
those
like
are athletic endeavors.
athleticism, that's just cap. Like that's just got to be cap.
Have you ever gone hunting?
No, actually, I haven't.
Okay, well, you should go hunting. It's very difficult, especially like with a moving target and all that. And like I don't know if you've like done like Olympic style shooting, like, but that it's extremely difficult. Like athletically, like I'm a pretty decent athlete. Like I'm relatively strong. I have pretty good endurance, right? But like shooting drained me. Like it's very difficult. That one time I put a police. Like, me and my friend went shooting one time, and I accidentally put a police round in there, and then it just like and like if you don't have the right core bracing, it just hit. Like I was bracing for like a regular like buckshot, right? But I put a police round in there because my friend had some, and I shot it and it went back into my teeth. Like that will happen every single time if you don't have good core bracing, all those things. But if you don't have good finger clicking capabilities, what happens is you don't click your finger on time for a mouse. Yeah,
So
the form and speed required from Olympic shooters is intense. Yeah,
for sure, yeah. But I can say the exact same thing about anybody who plays any video game past a certain skill level. Like, yeah, form and speed, form and speed.
that's
Are you aware of
that's
the
not
word tech?
that that's not form and speed.
100% that is.
Uh,
100% that is. Have you played a fighting game? Have you ever played a fighting game?
I have a bunch on. I have Sifu like literally downloaded
Not
on my
Sifu,
PS4
not
right now.
Sifu.
Like I played Super Smash Bros. I played like I have Marvel versus Capcom, and then I have a couple of I have the Injustice games too. But in any case, like I've played those fighting games and like yeah, they can be difficult, but like they're not athletic endeavors. Like I
But
wouldn't put it
you
into
said
my
like they
fitness
require
pal.
form and technique or form and speed or
Not
technique and
really.
speed.
Like not really. Like
Yes, they
you don't
do.
have to like a controller is not a heavy thing that you have to manipulate and I don't have to follow a
It doesn't
strict
need to be
form.
heavy though. It
It,
doesn't need
it
to be heavy for you to like.
Max
Oh,
said Max said the accuracy and speed slash precision of moving the mouse could be a skill. Yeah, it's a skill, but it's not a sport. Like, I'm not saying it's like not skillful. I'm just saying it's not a sport. Like, it's not an athletic. I'm not going into my fitness pal and putting I played video games for three
I would say the
hours into
exact same
my
thing about
calorie
like
count.
shooting. Like that's a
I
skill.
would
Like
absolutely like that. There was a point in time where I like tracked everything of my calories, every food, everything I did in a day, and 1,000% I would put shooting in there. I would not put chess in there. I would not put playing video games there.
I
But
don't.
thousand
I don't
percent I
think
would
there's a
put shooting
single
in
day I would be like, oh man, I just shot. I'm so spent. Like maybe if I was
there.
shooting
You did
like
not shoot like you did not shoot like these Olympic
maybe
shooters.
if I'm
Then
shooting a fucking buckshot and I'm absolutely destroying my shoulder. But if I'm shooting a fucking handgun, 9 mil for hours on end, dude, that's not a taxing experience. Well, I'm standing. oh my god, I stood for 10 hours. That's the most exhausting part about shooting. Standing.
you don't think that a weapon that is producing a force strong enough to fire a projectile
Through a
at
human
someone to
being.
kill somebody through a
Yes.
human being is
Hmm.
not something harder than playing a video game. Like
I'm
do you
saying we're not that far off.
I'm saying that pressing a button on your PS4 controller or pressing a thing on your keyboard has nowhere near the amount of athletic endeavors as opposed to shooting. When you do something
I
like
don't know about
shooting,
that.
you can't do it. You would not count that as sedentary activity. That is not like you wouldn't count that as non-activity. Like
If
you
I
would
put
count
you
playing
behind,
video games as non-activity.
if I made you play, if I made you play OSU or I put you behind aim labs and I told you clock in 2 hours straight, your arm is going to be tired.
I don't know what aim
100%.
lab. I don't know
It's an
what
aim
aim lab
trainer.
is.
It's an aim trainer. It's a program that people download in order to improve their motor skills so that they can click heads better.
You know what would also tire my neck out? Going on live
Sucking
stream.
dick.
I'm sure you know a lot about that, but
That would tire your
going on a
neck
live
out.
stream with Jaden Belmain and hunching over so that I can see the screen better and the people here, and yeah, like I of course like I can like look into it, right, and all of that, and maybe it'll cause me anxiety or stress that I can hyperventilate about, like Max says, but that doesn't mean it's a sport. Is debating a sport?
By that definition, dude, like if it
Okay,
has to
what's your
have physical
definition of a sport?
activity, literally anything that could be considered competitive.
Anything that can okay, so debate is a sport to you.
If we're allowing that, if you said that, because my thing is if you allow shooting to be a sport, but your basis of a sport is athleticism or some sort of physical activity, that's cap. Like that's got to be like that can't be the you can't allow shooting to be there. That I just refuse to be there. I just refuse for that to. I
Okay,
can't. I can't
but
let that
you
shit slide.
believe that esports is a sport, right?
Yeah, it's not the same sport.
So
It's not the same type. Obviously, that's why I say esports, but it's
but
not. It's
so-
obviously in a different realm. But I do
but
think it requires a
it needs
lot.
to have physical activity to be a sport, in my opinion, which differentiates the word sport from competition, right? At this point, you're just talking about competition, like the word
Shooting is
that
a
you're looking
competition,
for.
bro. I just
Yeah, it's a
know, like
competition,
it's
but it's also a sport because it requires an athletic endeavor. It's a physical activity as opposed to video gaming is not physical activity. If you go to your kinesiology professor and tell them, did you do any physical activity? And you tell them, I gamed for 3 hours, they'll laugh at your
if I
face
was
and
at a
be like,
standing
you didn't
desk,
do anything.
that would count. I
I mean,
gamed at a standing
it's
desk.
not physical. It's not physical activity if you're at a standing desk. It's not sedentary, but it's not a physical activity either.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Well, by the kinesiology definition of physical activity, that's not a physical
Fuck
activity.
kinesiology, man.
Well, that's the study of
Hey,
physical
think.
activity and movement. But in any case, like I'll respond to some of these live chat things. Someone says that while Whether video gaming qualifies as a sport is subjective and largely depends on how you define a sport. While video gaming doesn't involve the same physical exertion as traditional sports, competitive gaming or esports requires a high degree of mental athleticism and hand-eye coordination. So I don't understand what this means, like mental athleticism. I think mental athleticism is kind of a misnomer because athleticism isn't mental; it's a physical quality you have. And hand-eye coordination, while being a skill, isn't a part of that. And
It requires mental acuity.
yeah, but that's not athleticism. And then someone said, but ping pong is a sport. But ping pong players are very physically active and like
Ping
it
pong is
burns loads of
100% a sport.
calories. Yeah, a thousand
100%
percent a
a
sport. Yeah,
sport. That's not
yeah.
even
Okay.
a question. I'm
This
specifically going after the niggas saying shooting is a sport because all you're doing is
okay.
standing there. Oh my god, my arm, nigga, what? My arm
Okay.
hurts after fucking playing 20 hours of Overwatch or doing aim labs. Like that's not a. There's nothing athletic about shooting.
Okay. And I disagree with that, but let's read some of these other comments. This person says, I think I see both sides of this argument. Gaming is athletic to a small degree. Reaction time and precision of aim are technically physical, but yeah, shooting is more quote unquote physical. Gaming is athletic to a smaller degree. I don't think reaction times and precision of aim are technically physical. Both of those are mental, but shooting is more physical
No,
because
that's physical.
that's not physical. Like reaction
It's
time is
physical because if
it's in your brain.
it's in your brain for sure, but you need to still translate it out to a physical object.
Yeah, but
Because
the part
if
that
I
you're
could just
training,
think of
the
like,
part that
oh,
you're
there's a
training
person right there, I'm gonna look at
is
him.
mental. Like if you're talking like if the reaction time is coordinated to like say a punch, right? The punch is a physical movement, so then it is
Yeah,
physical, as opposed to clicking on a mouse, which is like
not
that's the
clicking on a mouse. You
definition.
have to move your hand.
Moving your hand and clicking on a mouse is literally the thing that they do to test for concussions, and it is deemed as non-physical activity, which is why you're cleared to do it when you have a concussion.
Okay,
And
but
then also,
holding your arm up and doing this is the exact same movement because it's just this.
yeah, but it doesn't require the athleticism to brace your core to hold the weapon and also fire it and turn it to a degree where you can aim it at a real physical thing that you're
Okay,
firing at.
but like you're saying that you have to brace your core. You don't need to brace your core. You could just
So
let it take.
in any case, shoot whether or not shooting is a sport or not depends on the definition that we have, right? And if your definition is just something that's competitive, then you're just make changing the definition of sport to mean a competition. Like someone said in the
Okay.
comments, is playing cards a sport? Is playing cards a sport? Because but, like you're dealing out the cards. That's your
I'm
hand.
not saying these
Is
things are a
piano
sport,
a
but I'm
sport?
just saying shooting is not a sport by definition. Like there's just no way.
Wait, but shooting is not a sport by definition. But video games are.
No. If we're
Video
going by
games are
the
not a sport.
athleticism definition, then no.
All right. Well, I don't think and until we have you try out Olympic shooting or you see a
Which I will be amazing
kinesiology,
at because I have thousands of hours of experience with shooting, so I'll be amazing.
that's absolute cap. But anyway,
God, we can work. I'm not. We can
uh,
record it. I'm gonna go crazy.
all right, sure. Anyway, but or you see a kinesiology definition of physical activity that shows that like shooting is a physical activity, right? We won't come to an agreement on that. We can agree
What
to
is the
disagree on that.
kinesiology definition that determines that shooting is a physical activity?
The
What makes something a
kinesiology,
physical activity?
something that burns more calories than standing still. Anyway, so as you're
No,
thinking
that it
about
would
that,
100%. Video games would 100% burn more calories than standing
no,
still. If I put you at
no,
a
it
standing
doesn't.
desk and I
No,
told
it
you to
doesn't.
play Fortnite for 20 hours, you're burning more calories easily,
Not to a significant degree. No, you don't.
more than equal, roughly equal to shooting.
No, the shooting burns way more, like by far. But anyway,
I
moving
I just
on. Moving on.
I just
We can agree to disagree on that. We can agree to disagree on that. You
mhm.
can look it up in your local
I will.
kinesiology textbook.
I
But
don't have.
let's move on from that and talk more about like the key subject, which is like the definition of what a sport is, right? Right now, you're defining it as something that just means like something that's competitive, right? Which could include esports, which could include chess, which could include even
Mhm.
shooting, which you vehemently don't think
I
is a
told you.
sport,
But
right?
I'm saying there needs to be a different definition because if we're going based off of that only definition of oh my god, um, anything that's physical activity, shooting does not count as physical
Okay,
activity. Just
that's
not.
cool. That's cool. We'll agree to disagree on that. But what I'm more focused on is your definition of sport that
I'm
contains the
not saying I
idea.
have a better definition.
So
I'm just saying,
do you think the idea that sport means that it's a athletic endeavor in which you compete is do you think that's a good definition? A better definition than just something that's competitive.
I see you're trying to trap me right now. This is interesting.
So- See, he's like, well, if I choose this one, then shooting is a sport. But if I choose this one, then I can
No,
say
no, it's
shooting
not.
isn't a
No,
sport.
no, 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 it's not. Because you're trying to say that. Because even if I still say yes, then shooting is not a sport. Because that's not. That's just not.
Okay, okay, that
You're
doesn't
not
matter. That
lumping that
doesn't
shit
matter.
in.
That does not matter. But if you agree to the definition that it's
Okay,
an
yes.
athletic
Okay, yes.
endeavor,
Then football is a sport. Table tennis is a sport. Shooting is not a sport. Chess is not a sport. Violin is not a sport. Esports is not sports. Shooting is not a sport. Shooting is not in
okay,
that bitch, bro.
cool, cool. To you, shooting is not a sport. All
No,
those other things,
the
not a
entire
sport.
international community.
Formula One is a sport, by the way, because it requires a crazy amount of like neck rigidity, like and like
Neck
the
rigidity.
ability to turn. Yeah, like literally the
I've
amount of
seen
G
it. I've
forces
seen
on it.
it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Formula One is like I know it's not as crazy as like
No,
fucking
I understand what you're
wrestling or
saying, but
fighting.
like, dude, like, you're, dude,
Okay, so but
it's clear you haven't gotten to like the highest peaks or like some sort of like you play video games casually probably, and that's okay, that's fine, but
bro said
dude,
bro did the MMA. You're a casual, but for video games.
bro, because it's I'm not like being like oh fuck this casual. It once you get to a certain point in video games, you are you are sweating. There's a reason why there's a term called sweating. There's sweats. You are burning more calories. You are
Sweating
running
doesn't
away.
mean you're burning more calories because sweating is like it can be a psychological or physiological reaction. I can be sweating just thinking. I can be sweating thinking about how my girlfriend is gonna react to this video, but that doesn't mean I'm burning more calories. Like I'm just worried about something. Like the same way you can be anxious about a video game, right? But in
Not
any case, my point
dude.
I'm trying to get across is that first of all, like I do agree that some video games are like sports. Like if you're VR boxing, like that's you're
Yeah.
moving. It's a
That
physical
by
endeavor.
definition,
It's a
by the original
competition.
definition, that those count.
Yeah, yeah. But like other, how about I give a sport where I actually was competitive in, which is VGC Pokemon. Okay, so in
What's
Pokemon,
that?
do you know? Okay, VGC means like the video game thing where they force you to do doubles
Is it
Pokemon
is it
battles.
the website that you log into?
That's Showdown, which is a simulation of the game. But like you have to get your own Pokemon in the actual VGC or trade with people. But in any case, my point the entire game is like say yeah I don't have my Nintendo downstairs, but like you have your Nintendo and you click on a Pokemon move and wait for the opponent as they
Mm-hmm.
choose the Pokemon move. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is
That shit
that
does
an
not count,
athletic? That is not.
bro.
That's not a fucking esport.
I mean, like
Okay.
technically,
Is that
anything that isn't immediately like in your noggin, not
is that
like
a sport?
is
Is that a
walking a
sport?
sport?
Speed walking is a sport. Yeah. It's an Olympic sport, actually, too. Walking is considered physical activity as well.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm being serious. I know it's
I
funny.
understand. I
It's
understand what
funny
you're
to me
saying.
too,
I
but it
went to
is
the
a sport.
Olympics off of speed walking is just a crazy like that's like right next to shooting like cool like shooting massive skill 100%. But my brother in Christ like I get what you're trying to say. Like, there's like limits to the physical activity, but there's a large leap from pressing a singular button and like waiting to a game like Fortnite, for example, or any game that has like a certain amount of actions per minute that's
That's
above
fair. That's
like a
fair.
certain rate.
But I'm just curious as to what you think about VGC Pokemon gaming. Like, would you consider that a sport where you just
Well,
click a
one
move
one
every
I
turn?
consider it's gay, and then two, no, it's not a sport.
Okay. Now chess. Chess is very similar where you make a move and the other person makes a move.
Yeah,
Would that be considered a sport?
nah. I mean, like by your definition,
Even no, but by your definition, would
nah.
either the Pokemon or okay, but under your definition, you consider esports a sport.
Well, I was just posing that definition because we're allowing like shooting. So if we want to go down the line, we have to go down the line.
Yeah, but like there is a very hard line, like the kinesiology definition of physical activity that draws a hard line. Whether or not you agree with that definition of physical activity,
I'm saying
it
no. I'm saying that could be something, but I guarantee if you hook up a video game player or like an esports athlete during the day that they
athlete.
have their final, sure, dude, hook them up with like calorie trackers or like a heartbeat sensor, and you will
Okay,
see
here's the thing: if
that nigga
you
is going to be
those
pumping.
calorie trackers are always wrong, right? And second of all,
Okay,
the
so
heartbeat.
timeout. So timeout. Oh, you're lagging, dude. I don't know, dude. That doesn't make any sense. So now the measurements don't work. I don't know where he went. Let me see. Definitions. Oh, arguing over definitions is pointless because definitions are ultimately arbitrary and made up. I agree. Chess is a sport. Chess is not a sport, but I get what you're saying. Fools can speed walk faster than I can run. Facts. Filthy casual. I can you guys hear me still? I'm like clicking on random shit. To become a programmer is hella selective. Hella selective. It's like it's harder than to get into like the Fortnite championships than it is to get into fucking Harvard. If you think about that. And he's gone. But
Hello?
hello,
I don't know what happened, but anyway,
you got DDoSed by my hackers, by the
man,
esports
come on.
athletes who are not fucking
At
with what your
esports
message
athletes.
was.
All right, but what I was getting at is that the heart rate monitors and all those stuff they don't accurately track the calories that you lose because your heart rate can go up from just random anxiety and that like
Okay,
I could be grieving over my dead grandmother and my
so
heart rate would go up, but
how
that
would
doesn't
you
indicate me burning more calories
how would you know that you're burning more calories by shooting them? How do they measure that?
because calories are indicated by calorie is an energy quantity and you can just do that with physics.
Okay, but like how did somebody look at shooting and be like, that's enough to be a sport? Let him in.
Because you look at the force that they're absorbing and then you can calculate that into an energy expenditure equation.
Okay,
Yeah, and
so
it
theoretically we
creates
can
an
calculate.
expenditure of calories that are statistically significant as opposed to clicking on a mouse, which isn't.
So shooting, one round every 60 seconds spread out over an hour is more than just standing still because you're like how much more is it?
A statistically significant about which is
More than 5%?
something like that. Yeah, but I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head because
Okay.
I'm not a professional shooter or anything, but like
Uh-huh.
that
I would
it
say
is
that
considered a sport.
if if shooting I think that shooting and prolonged gaming, like if we were shooting one round a minute for an hour, right? Which I don't know how shooting works. I'm not a competitive shooter, contrary to popular belief. But but I think that if you hook somebody up, or if you calculated all of the wrist movements that they're making, all of this is expending energy, right? Like especially if you're playing like a competitive video game that requires your hand to move, at least in some form or shape or fashion. You're probably doing the same amount of core tensing and wrist movement moving around this physical object over a prolonged period of time. And I do think
But
it'll also be
the thing is, it's not
statistically
true.
significant.
The thing is, it's not true though. It doesn't. Like the same way that working at an office does
But
not burn that
okay,
significant amount of calories.
who did the tests? Did they
A
do it? Do
kinesiologist.
I gotta talk to this person? Not because like I just think that their study did not account for playing video games. I just refuse to believe that.
Maybe maybe
I
somehow,
think that
but until
they
I see
probably just
that,
did some normal desk work and they were like, oh, like this is very light. It's very casual. You're not like just scrolling around on your PC and doing menial tasks is not as stressful, nor is it a calorie intensive process. But
until I see that, I will disagree with you. Also, the person in the live chat says if it helps, sometimes my hand gets sore from intense aiming in Overwatch. You know what also gets sore? My neck from working a desk job and doing absolutely nothing and having no calorie expenditure.
Beyblades are a
Because
sport, no cap. I
Max
read
Zhao
that.
says they literally have training arcs for Beyblades. I don't think Beyblade is a sport, unfortunately. I love Beyblade. I have loads of them. My like shout out Feng Leon. That's a fire ass Beyblade, but like
Shout out Sagittario. That's
Sagittario is mid, bro. Sagittario,
fuck you, nigga.
bro was a Sagittario kid. Bro just
I
wants
was
to
a
be different.
Sagittario kid, and then I mixed it with the Pegasus. Pegasus, yeah,
The storm thing, Storm
I think
Sagittario,
so.
bro.
Yeah, I mixed it with
Bro,
Storm
Storm
Sagittario.
Sagittario, bro. Are you trying to be a stamina type or an attack? Clearly, this guy knows nothing about the sport of
You'd mix
Beyblade.
it. You'd mix it. See, because
Yeah, but
I
like,
take the
why
bottom
would you mix
of one
that?
of them. I don't remember. I think it was the Sagittario bottom, and I took the Sagittario ring, and then I got the core from the or flip. I got the Sagittario
The meta wheel.
I just mixed them together. Yeah, I got the ring from the Pegasus, and then I put it on the Sagittario, and I was cooking everybody in my class.
Well, if you kept the meta wheel, then it doesn't significantly change anything if you take the energy wheel. But anyway,
It does. Are you
in
talking about like real life, like Beyblade, or like you're talking about significant changes?
in real life, like competitively, the energy wheel for the most
Competitively.
part.
Oh,
Bro,
my bad. I didn't
you
know
don't
there
know
was a
about
sweat in the chat.
competitive
Oh my
sport
god.
Beyblade, bro.
Competitively, actually, statistically, it's not significant. Like,
Anyway,
all right, buddy.
someone in the chat says gaming also tests precision and concentration, but involves virtual environments and digital interactions, relying on hand-eye coordination and cognitive processing rather than physical exertion. Yeah, like what this person said. No physical, no real physical exertion. Like they're still
He's not a
sedentary.
real gamer. Like whoever that is, they obviously don't really game like that. Like they're not a really like P39 Air Cobra said my hand gets sore. Like he understands.
Yeah, my neck also gets sore working a desk job, doing nothing, being sedentary. Like soreness is not an indicator of physical exertion. Like my back gets sore from laying on my bed
So
too long.
what's an indicator of physical exertion? If it isn't
Physical,
sweating or
like
soreness.
the amount of force and energy expenditure that you do. Like that's the indicator that I've repeated over and over again, and that does not significantly alter when you're
Watch
playing
a
video
hand
games.
cam of a Fortnite streamer. I just suggest you to do that. It just like click on a random competitive Fortnite streamer and just watch a hand cam.
And also, to my understanding, and I could be wrong, don't they also alter it into the degree that they have a higher sensitivity of the mouse, so they don't have to move it as much?
That depends on the person. Um,
I figured as much,
that
but
is that is
I don't
something
know
that
much
people
about the
could do.
topic.
100%. That is. I like to play on a wider mouse pad though because it gives you more precise control. So like for example, Valorant, um, you need more precision to like click on the small area on the mouse pad that you have to click the head. And if you are playing on a higher sensitivity, that area of precision gets smaller. So the
So
higher the
to me,
sensitivity, the smaller it is, and the
so to
lower the
me, that
sensitivity,
sounds
the
like
wider
there's
it is.
less physical. They're trying to minimize even the small amount of movement you are. You're minimizing that depending on the person.
It's preferences based, but yeah.
So that sounds to me even less of physical exertion. Like
Okay, but only if you play on.
someone Max
But
also
traditionally,
at
okay, but that's interesting, right? Because you
okay.
bring that up because if you're playing a game that you want a higher sensitivity in, you're moving your mouse a lot more because you don't really care about the precision. So you're going in and you're
All right. So energy in kinetic energy, for example, is like the mass, velocity. Those are the two variables, right? The mass of a mouse not very big. The velocity of a mouse
depends on the mouse.
also.
Depends on the mouse.
Is there a mouse that is heavier than a fully loaded gun? No.
I mean, like if I made one, yeah.
Okay, if you theoretically made a mouse that was the weight of a gun, and if you clicked on it, it exploded and fired out bullets, then yes, video gaming would be a sport. But
No,
until
no,
then,
no.
it is not a sport. And Max
And
asked
fuck
in the chat.
shooting too. Bring them down with us.
Max asked
Crabs in a
in the live
bucket. I'm
chat
bringing
is
the people who are shooters down
is
with me.
is competitive eating a sport? Is competitive eating a sport?
Oh my god. Wait, but you said it's an expenditure that requires it's more than like standing still, right? But you're actually like putting more calories into your body. So like, how does that
So
math out?
you can still put energy into your body while expending the energy. In my opinion, competitive eating isn't a sport because eating isn't considered a physical activity. If eating was considered a physical activity, bro, sumo wrestlers would be skinny as fuck. Like on God, sumo wrestlers would be going crazy on God because they do
Exactly.
physical activity
Would
on
not
top of the
exist.
eating, bro. Yeah, like in fact, like all of Africa would just not be alive anymore.
That's not
In
funny.
fact,
That's not funny.
you cover your mouth and you're like, that's not funny, bro. That's not funny, bro.
That's not even funny, bro.
uh, cheese rolling is a sport, bro. Homie trying to compare Valorant to actual shooting. Hello? I think you froze or blacked out. Kite fighting. Cheese rolling is now a sport. Oh my god, Valorant. It seems like disqualifying a video game as a sport requires judging it by control advice. I'm not sure control devices are enough to arbitrate this since they're external to the
I'm
game.
back.
Alright, what's up?
Bro, yes, I am comparing Valorant to actual shooting. I'm
It's
looking
kind of
at the
sad.
screen more.
It seems like, but a
Like,
control
dude,
device, no control device in any video game is enough to qualify it as shooting unless you're like doing a VR game where you're like punching. In which case, I did clarify that it is a sport if you're like, say, VR boxing.
would you say shooting in VR is a sport because you're getting yourself into intricate positions, jumping up,
No,
crouching
no,
down,
because
prone?
the VR control, unless you create a VR control that has the same weight as a gun and fire and recoil and all that as a gun, then no, it isn't. But like if you're doing physical activity with it, then yeah, it would be.
So
Competitive
only
eating is a
because there's the recoil. The recoil is the biggest part of the shooting.
it's one of the biggest. I'm not an expert shooter. I could be wrong, but like when I shoot, like the like you in like the mechanics and biomechanics and the physical activity that you're doing, a
You're doing
lot
a
of
whole
it
lot of yapping
comes.
right now.
I'm not gonna try to respond to that from a person who made a video called "We Need More Men Like
Doing a
Andrew
whole
Tate
lot
and
of yapping
Sneeko"
right now.
for
I'm not gonna
27
lie.
minutes.
From
After
the
he asked
biomechanics.
me the question, after
From the
he asked me the question,
biomechanics.
after he asked me the question and me answering it, he accuses me of yapping. How dare I answer?
Yeah, exactly.
Competitive eating is a sport. I would date a woman who could do that. 83 hot dogs in 10 minutes is a talent.
That
I would
definitely
date a
is.
woman who could do that.
That definitely is. Kite fighting, go. Now he's onto something. This guy's
Yeah,
definitely onto something. If you're running around the field fighting kites, that's definitely a sport.
kite fighting. Okay,
By
whatever.
definition, I guarantee you, it's burning more fucking.
I
It's
don't know
burning.
I don't know if kite fighting is a
I
real
don't know what it is,
competition,
but I'm
bro.
assuming you're running around like.
I don't know what kite fighting even is. For all I know, kite fighting is a video game that's on VR or something, bro. I don't even know. I can't even make a comment on that. I don't know what
I'm
kite
assuming
fighting
you're
is.
fighting kites in the air. If you're
I
kite fighting, I'm not gonna lie.
are you like boxing kites in the air? Are you kicking it in the air? Are you like trying to choke a
Nah,
kite
maybe you're
out
like just like
unconscious?
making them hit each other. You know.
What about robot fighting? The robots probably exert themselves a lot, bro. So from Big Hero
Competitors
6,
try to cut each.
robot
Bro,
fighting is the
nah,
most
legit.
competitive sport.
Nah, kite fighting is 100% a sport. If they're like
Competitors
running
try to
around,
cut
that
each
shit
other's
counts.
kite strings by maneuvering. Actually, yeah, I feel like if competitors try to cut each
That shit
other's kite
counts.
strings by maneuvering,
Why is that
yeah,
not at the Olympics?
that
I'll
shit's
do
gotta
that.
count. That shit gotta count. But like, I didn't know what kite fighting is, bro. I
I'm
didn't even
there,
know that was a thing.
bro.
If
I'm
there's
I'm gonna be
competitions for
the
that, that's sport.
I'm gonna be at the next Olympic kite
Kite
fighting
fighting.
event. I'm gonna go D1 in kite fighting.
You're gonna go D1 in kite fighting, bro.
I'm going to the Olympic Village next time it happens, bro. I'm gonna be there. Is it
Of
a summer
course.
sport or is it winter? I'm assuming summer, right?
I don't know if it's even in the
Baddies.
Olympics.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna be scared.
AKA American Kite Flyers Association is coming after you guys. I can't tell if they're just like joking. It's cooking a sport. It's cooking a sport, Jade.
Depends on how intense the cooking is. If you're cooking for Gordon Ramsay, that's just a sport, dude.
That shit is not a sport, bro.
That's just a
It's
sport, dude.
cooking physical activity. It's
Have
cooking
you
physical
worked in the
activity.
kitchen? Have you worked in the kitchen? Have you worked in the kitchen?
Oh my god, bro. That's
Have you worked in the kitchen?
crazy.
So this is what this is what I'm talking about. Like, have you been there, dude? Have you been in those shoes?
Have you been an Olympic shooter?
I haven't. I
There
haven't,
you
but I've shot
go.
a gun.
I have cooked a meal.
Just as you've
I've cooked
shot,
many meals.
just as you've cooked, I haven't shot at that level. You haven't cooked at that level. You haven't cooked
Okay,
for
so you're
in a
saying
restaurant where you're running
I
around.
can't make an opinion about professional cooking
No, I'm saying
because
if
I
you
haven't
do,
professionally cooked, but
I'm saying if you do,
you can make an opinion
I
about
can do the
shooting even though you
exact
haven't
same
professionally
thing.
shot.
If you're saying that, I'm just saying that if you do, I can do the exact same thing.
That's not
Um,
the only. Oh yeah. Cooking is physical activity. Kite fighting has caused horrific injuries and even deaths in a bill moving through Brazil's Congress. Violators facing 1 to 3 years in prison and a hefty fine. I can't tell if this is real or trolling or not at this point. I think Jaden is going through the Olympic sport of arguing with his mother about chores, which is also a physical activity.
it is. If you think about it, it really is. If you have ethnic
The
parents, it
timing.
is.
The
You better
timing.
dodge the chancleta, bro. Dodge the slipper.
You mean the chancala, motherfucker?
It's chancleta where I come from, but that's cool. You just assume my
Chancleta?
race like that. That's interesting.
You're Puerto Rican and black. Like this has been
I'm
said in
actually
a
just Puerto
video before.
Rican. You racist fuck. You see,
You told me in class that you were half black and half Puerto Rican.
I said no. I said I'm half white and half black by definition, but I'm Puerto Rican. It's your racism showing that
You,
curb your
I
racism.
need I need a video this next time because you've told me on 2 occasions. Because I was confused by one of your videos. They said I'm just Puerto Rican, but then the first time I met you, you were like I'm half Puerto Rican and half black. And then the next time I met you, I saw your video and then I went up to you. The next time I went up to you and talked to you,
You're
I
just lying
asked
on my
you,
name.
"What is your race?" And you said half Puerto Rican and half black.
Lying on my name.
Technically,
You're just lying on my name. Like you just lying on my name. Like that's just so
I
crazy.
need to see a 23 in me right now.
You want to see the 20, bro? You're gonna see a diaspora all across the United States and Europe and Africa.
Damn, so you're a mutt, is what you're saying.
I'm a mutt to the infinite degree. If I have a kid with an Asian child or with an Asian, I'm going to have the first child He's gonna be the super American if you think about it. That's my plan. I'm not gonna lie. Like I might
Yo,
just go
bro,
to like an
actually,
Asian country.
my friend, bro, lied about his race. Anyway,
I didn't lie, bro. This fucking.
I don't even know.
I'm
I
recording
don't
with
even
Flair.
know. Maybe you're
What
telling the
Asian
truth,
is
but
this person?
well, I don't. They can have a Chinese username and not like Max Zhao, who is Chinese, to my
I
knowledge.
would never call myself
First, a
something
woman
else.
has to talk to you. That's crazy. Me personally, I wouldn't let
No,
that
you
slide.
see, you see, that's what I'm talking about. Because you fucks, you thought you were cooking. I said I was gonna go to an Asian country and donate to a sperm bank, and absolutely fuck people's brains up.
Well, they'd have to choose you as a sperm donor, and they would read that
Would
you're
they not?
black. So,
What the
so,
what the
so they
fuck?
would.
See, I told you I'm not black. I'm actually Puerto Rican. This is the second time. See, I'm at this
You
point.
told me that you
I'm
were half
inclined.
black.
I'm
Okay,
inclined
you
to
told
think
me on
that.
this live stream,
I
which
told
is
you.
on
I
video,
think
that
I'm inclined at this
you're
point to think that you're
technically
just
half white,
racist.
half black.
I think I'm just. I think you're just racist. I think.
You're correct, but I'm also correct in what I'm saying. And also,
Nah,
the one
you're
with the
you're
Chinese
incorrect.
username said, "I am black."
He's lying. He's lying. How do I ban this
Do you
guy?
think they're Chinese?
I don't think he's black.
Do you think they're white?
Type out nigga right now so I can ban you. Type out nigga right now so I can ban
Do it.
you. Do it. Just do it.
Max said ban. Max Zhao. Do we say that Max Zhao having a Chinese name is Chinese?
100%. 100%. If that isn't like a character from like popular form of media, nigga, that is an Asian man. That is an Asian man
How
right
do
there.
you know that those Chinese characters don't spell out a popular Chinese character? Yu is
I
actually
don't.
the name of a popular Chinese character, and also the name of a character from Beyblade, which you would know if you were a competitive Beyblader in the sport of Beyblading, of course.
Of course, indeed.
In
If you
fact, you
think
would
about it,
know
it's
that
this.
actually, if
If
you
you're
think
like
about it.
if I'm practicing Beyblade, right, and I'm
Mhm.
refining my rip, and I just do 3 sets of 30 rips.
Yo, on God, like the Beyblade anime, they were going crazy with it. They were doing like lawnmower training with that.
I'm
Like
telling you,
they
dude,
were
like
ripping it.
if I'm doing it, nigga, I'm life or death, bro. Catch me in the gym. You can catch me in the gym.
Wait, hold on. What race is P39 Era Cobra? Don't say it because we need to guess. So they
I
have
already know.
Cobra in their name. What is it?
I, anybody with a World War II aircraft in their name is a white male. 100%. I don't even know what he looks like, but
Okay,
balling like Curry.
okay.
Balling like Curry
P39
right now.
Era Cobra. Are you a white male? Well, we'll wait for their response. Are we guessing that training arc for Beyblades proves that it's a sport? Of course, Beyblade
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
best sport of all time. Hardest sport, toughest sport of all time.
100%. I agree.
Read me like a book. That's crazy. So he is a white male. Okay. All
I
right.
told you, dude.
All right.
I told you.
Do you think you, which with the Chinese name is in the group chat, is Chinese?
I wouldn't say he's Chinese. I would like to generalize it to all of Asia because that would be kind of racist. Because I'm not familiar with the Chinese characters. I didn't know that that was Chinese.
Actually,
I would have just left it as Asian.
The Chinese characters are written the same way as the Japanese characters, so it could be Japanese.
Exactly.
But if it is
You were trying to be
Japanese, then
racist. You were trying to be racist, and you were trying to prove me wrong. You see that right there,
no,
intellectually dishonest.
no.
You
But
were
wait.
aware it could be either or, and you said this guy's Chinese, knowing damn well he
Okay,
could be Japanese. You're
but
racist.
they were talking about how they were talking about Chinese facts earlier that no Japanese person would know unless they've been colonized by China, which they all have. Okay, never mind. Backing up,
I was gonna
they
say,
could
like,
be
what
a
are you talking
weeb.
about?
This person could be a weeaboo who is of a different race,
Nah,
or a China
Ling
boo that
Long
is of
Ding
a
Dong.
different
I'm sorry.
race.
I'm sorry. That's racist. He left. You made him leave. You made him leave. You made him leave. You made him leave. You made him leave.
I did it.
Yes.
I did it.
You out Asianed him.
I out Asian.
You out Asianed him, bro. What
Why
the
are you
fuck?
assuming all of these people are men? what if Max Zhao is actually a
We
female
know
Max?
Max. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, what if P39 Era Cobra is a woman?
I said he's a red. I said he's a white male. Nobody. There's not a single white woman who is making their username P51, P39. I love the
Okay, whatever.
B17. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that, dude.
It's like Yumen Ting or something. That's a legit name. It could also be a Japanese name, but like, yeah, it could also. Max, do you know any like popular Chinese characters who go by you? I know you is the name of like a couple.
Not you,
Like,
me. No, not you, me. No, that's he.
okay, bro. Okay,
I
bro.
love
You're
that. I
very
love that rush hour
you're
scene. I
you're
loved
you're
it.
you're so funny, bro.
I fucked up. I fucked up.
You're good, bro. I love Rush Hour though. I love Rush Hour. Wait, okay. While we're here and we're back to being moderately civil, what made you start Sanda?
Oh, Elizabeth actually, she put me on because I
But
went on
like
to.
like I know that part because I was there at the party. But like what was your like you heard of Sanda? Like what made you actually show up?
Because I've been wanting, I'd wanted to do like a martial art for a while, like a very
But
long
why?
time.
But why?
But why? Because I wanted to, and I thought
What do you
martial
mean
arts
because
was
I
cool, and I was
wanted
like, this
to?
is my opportunity right here, and it's free, dude. That's a
And
steal.
it's free.
Yeah, I would
But
no, because legit, I was like, it's
on
free
God,
too. I was like, nigga, oh my god.
bro, on God, you, Max, and all of you other guys, like, you guys are so spoiled. Like, you get world class fucking, sorry, effing coaching. Sorry, YouTube
This guy
overloads.
is
Training
glazing
for free.
himself. This
For
guy is
free.
glazing himself.
No, I'm
Go
not
ahead.
glazing myself. I'm
Hey,
talking
go
about
ahead.
Young, bro. Young
You
coached the
just
world
not for
team.
sure.
Young coached the world team. Like, he's like a world class coach.
And it's
Like,
free. Can you
and
believe
it's
that?
free, bro.
That's
Like,
that's
you guys
you're
are so
telling me
spoiled, bro.
you're literally just selling more people onto it. You like Elizabeth already told me this when the first time because
No,
we were talking
but
about it for like hours, and I was like, I'm gonna go there. Like it's not even like a question. And then she was like,
but
yeah,
my
like
question
it's.
is why martial arts? Why martial arts? Why didn't you keep doing fucking lacrosse or some other white sport?
I was going to do lacrosse, but then I couldn't. First off, it's actually Native American. All right, that's the first thing. Two,
So colonized
um,
white.
innovated by the whites, I would say.
Innovated by the whites.
They innovated. They innovated a lot,
That's
dude.
crazy. It's crazy. So would you say the United States is innovated by the whites?
Yes, literally, actually. They innovated the American land into the United States of America.
That's crazy.
If
Roman
you
Navarro, the first native national U.S. Sanda champion, is in the live chat, and you're out here saying that the United
they got
States of
innovated.
America.
They got out innovated, bro. Sorry. Sorry, dude. Skill issue.
They got out innovated. Roman, me personally, I wouldn't let that slide. Anyway, nah, Phil taught me a lot. He gets credit. Yeah. Phil's great. I don't know if he's like he hasn't proven that he's world class. Is what I should say. I don't want to comment on his coaching ability. 'Cause I haven't been coached by him, but he's a really cool guy. I get along with him well. But Young is like world class, like definitively proven national Pan American titles, world titles. Like this guy is just like the best, right? Like
Cool guy. He is a cool guy. I can
he
second
is
this.
in fact a cool guy, a
Cool guy,
very
which
cool
is a
guy.
higher level than a chill guy. I won't lie. Ooh, and that was a
Roman
bar.
says
My natural inclination to rhyming.
Roman, your natural inclination to rhyming. Anyway, Roman says he will hear from me at practice about the Native American United States colonization, which is crazy because I say worse stuff, but I don't hear from him at practice.
Oh, he's saying your pussy, Roman. Oh my god,
That's what I'm
he's
saying.
saying your pussy.
Actually, now that I think about it,
Personally,
I do.
as a young male in America,
Actually, to be
I
honest,
wouldn't let that stand. You know,
I do hear stuff from
as
him,
a
and
man first.
it's mostly racism, but like it's not as funny of racism. See, I feel like you got to be more accurate with the racism, and also you're kind of in like China's national combat sport. You're doing, like
I'm colonizing. What can I say? I am American.
yeah.
It's that
Ryan
thirty
gets a
percent
pass
white in
on
me,
some
bro.
things.
My natural tendencies. See now, if I have a child That's Asian. He's going to be the most discriminated against, but most discriminatable. Like
No. But
able
hear
to
hear me
discriminate.
out. One of my boys, Eddie, he's half black, half
Mm,
Filipino, right?
mhm.
And being half black, as in half African American, means you have some white in you and some black in you. And being Filipino means you have Hispanic in you and
Right.
Asian in you, and Chinese in you, and Japanese in you, and Korean in you, which means he's everything. He can literally say every
He's
slur.
got all of Korea, all
He
of Japan, all of Africa, all of Europe in him at once.
Yes, his asshole is huge. But besides
Yo,
the point,
did you verify it?
yeah, I verified it, bro. I
Did you
wrestled with him.
verify it? Like, can I see
I
any
I, I
pictures?
wrestled. I wrestled with him. Trust me. Anyway, Eddie, if you're watching, why are you up in the screen like that, man? Like you just like, honestly, man, it was a funny joke, and then you just made it weird, bro.
Dude, I was just interested. My bad.
Yeah,
Shit, dude.
it is your bad. It is your bad.
My bad, bro. I just get a little. I just get a little like.
Okay, but what? See, you have too much ADHD, man. I was trying to
I took
bring
an
it back to
Adderall
the
pill to
point.
preface this.
What? Clearly, it's not fucking working.
It's
Clearly,
working.
it's not working.
I'm
Same.
knocking
I
on the
would
things
give
that
him the
matter,
N word
sliding on
pass.
your homie's ass.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Roman Navarro says Ryan gets a pass on some things. Max says pause, and then you, the Chinese black guy in the group in the live chat says same. I would give him the N word pass.
Shut the fuck up, yo. This Nick, the fact that he typed out N-word pass. This guy is Asian. Verify. You're Asian, right? I know it. I just know it. I know for a
Okay,
fact.
but
I know for a
okay,
fact.
what if
There's
they're
no
half
way.
Chinese? Okay, but no one says like everyone says the N word pass or whatever. Like they don't say
You say
like
nigga pass.
I've never heard a black person say that.
You slipped up right there. I've never said nigga pass. You're about to slip up.
Oh, I am Blasian. Do we believe this?
I don't know. I would let you slide on that one, but I just have high.
Okay.
The
If you
cab
are
meter is kind of
Blasian,
going off. You know.
wait. If you are Blasian,
Are
say
you
the N
Roy
word and
Hachimura?
chink
Like
in the
that
group
doesn't.
chat right now. Say the N word and chink in the group chat right now, back to back. Do it.
Say what?
If this person is Blasian, then say the N word and chink back to back.
Yeah. Nigga chink, nigga chink.
Wait, do you have the pass? Wait, does Puerto Rican have?
I don't care. That's the funny part.
I don't care either. But wait,
Nigga, you see, he's
does that
not
count?
fucking
Does that count?
like that.
Does
That shit
that
does not
count?
count. He
No,
does
does
not know
that
how
that
to
doesn't
spell
count?
nigga, bro. He put niga. He's Asian as fuck, dude. This guy's Asian as fuck.
This guy's.
Straight from the motherland. Straight from the motherland. This guy
What
is.
if it's a woman, bro? What if it's a woman?
This woman. This woman is straight from the motherland.
Straight from the motherland.
You know, honestly, if it probably is a woman. I heard they don't. No, I was gonna make a funny sexist joke, but it wasn't even gonna be
It was.
accurate. So I'll just.
See, I'm so proud of you, Jaden, for doing.
I don't want your pity. I actually don't care.
See, before you said Asian idiot, and it was an unfunny joke.
Bro,
But
it
now
was
you
an
you
astute
stopped yourself from making
observation. There was nothing funny
unfunny
about it. I
jokes.
just called you an Asian idiot.
Unfunny
There was nothing
jokes. You
funny. There was
stopped
nothing
yourself from
funny.
making an unfunny
There was
joke
not. There
that's
was. It
sexist.
was. It was an observation, a fact,
It's
objective fact.
actually an obs. See, I would put on the glasses, but you already have them on, so I
It's
don't. That's the
actually,
image that I'm.
actually, it's an
This is the
observational,
image that I'm
objective
projecting
fact.
right
Fuck
here.
nigga.
Uh, we were just okay. Back to stop having ADHD, man. What made you choose martial arts? Like, why did you
Dude, I
want to get into
told
martial
you. I
arts?
told you. Because everything else was paid, and this was free. That was like a massive point. And then on top of that, I knew people already in it. On top of that, I saw like Sensei Seth's video, and I was like, "Damn, that shit looks fire." And then on
Oh,
top of that,
actually, go on. On top of that, what?
I was like, "Dude, like, whew, it looks fun. Fuck it, we ball."
Sensei
And I
Seth.
already want to do it, so
Sensei Seth's video on it. He went to Texas, which me and
love
Young
it,
went to as well.
love it.
Coach Ian Lee, Coach Lee. He runs those. He's the national Sanda coach for the U.S. national team, and he's also vice executive president of the USA WKF. And like that video was fire. First of all, and second of all, the reason why Sensei Seth went to do that video in
Was
general
because I
because
told him.
I was in his comments since day
Yeah.
one, spamming him, do Sanda from day one. And then he did this recap of all the videos and all the martial arts styles he tried that entire year. And he was like, okay, Sanda, best fucking style. Best fucking style. So my real question is, why did you try Muay Thai after that without knowing anything about Muay Thai? Not even Googling, what is Muay Thai?
I did like some basic ass fucking lookups.
But why?
Why?
Yeah,
Because I just wanted to try it.
but it costs money.
No, I wasn't. It was free.
Oh, you just did a free trial?
Yeah.
Okay, but like, how did that compare to Sanda in your mind?
Um and like what do you mean specifically?
Like,
Like
how did it how did your experience with Sanda practices compare to your practice with
uh
Muay Thai?
Muay Thai was a lot more like intense. It was a lot longer. Um I
Like,
cooked
how
my
long was
knees.
practice?
I think it was 2 hours and like 30 minutes, but that was because I stayed after like the traditional time because I just wanted to get like the entire experience, quote unquote.
Mhm.
I wanted to like get everything from like start to finish, and I wanted to talk to a lot of different fighters that were there. Um, so I was there for like 3 4 hours, um, and yeah, it was just cool. It was interesting. The way that they fight is a lot different. They have like that like stance that they do multiple time,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and as a beginner in Sanda, I was like, I'm gonna get cooked. And then the dude I was talking to, Zayavet, he was like, yeah, like the last dude who pulled up, who did Sanda got cooked by our guys, and I was like, dude, like
That's Jared the grappler.
dude, like I don't. You're talking about Jared right now. I don't even think he does Sanda. Like his original sport was Taekwondo, and he was like, nah, he was Sanda. I was like,
He's done Sanda for like a couple, like maybe a year now.
that's what I
I've
was
done
thinking. I was like,
Sanda.
he was
I've
like,
done
yeah,
Sanda for like 6 years. There's like a huge
yeah, because
difference.
I was
Yeah, yeah.
like, dude, like I don't, I don't know, like if you would.
I
He was like,
would
yeah,
call
you're gonna
I
get
would
cooked,
call
and I was
Jared
like,
a
dude,
Taekwondo guy
I'm a
before.
noob. Like, I'm
Yeah,
probably gonna get cooked by anybody. Like, what's the point you're trying to
yeah.
make right now? And then,
Jared's great. Don't get me wrong, but
no, yeah, but he was like, the bladed stance
also
that you guys do in Sando, we're just gonna cook you. I was like, well, you don't have to stand bladed. It's not like a
most Sanda fighters don't stand that bladed as Jared. Jared fights like
yeah.
very. I'm not saying Jared's a bad fighter. Like he's a great
And
fighter.
Sanda is a very like open like form of fighting. Doesn't
Yeah,
it literally mean like open fighting, like free
it
form
means
fighting?
freestyle fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, like nigga, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah, like Muay
like
Thai
what?
fighters also compete in Sanda, and
Yeah,
and here's the thing: if you put anyone in any sport against someone of any other sport, obviously the one who practices that sport is going to be better at that sport. Like, of course, if Jared spars them in Muay Thai, the Muay Thai guys are going to be better than him at Muay Thai.
exactly,
But like,
exactly.
if you allow him to wrestle, if you allow him to grapple, obviously he's going to
Yeah, and
choke all those
I
guys
couldn't do
out.
takedowns because there was a lot of times I'd get into the clinch with somebody, and I was like, I'd like to like do like a interesting takedown here, but
It's
like I
illegal.
can, yeah, I can't like sweep the feet. And I was like, oh, I'm just there like kneeing him, and I'm like, oh, this is like if you tried to knee me, I'm just gonna go for the sweep. Like he went for a knee on the left side,
Yeah,
and I was like, ooh, I wanted to slip my fucking foot and just like pummel into him, but I couldn't do that. But
I
I
don't
thought that
know
was
if you were
interesting.
there for that class, but Yang did a class afterward on ways to counter Muay Thai fighters with
Yeah, yeah,
sweeping
yeah.
stuff. But here's the thing: all of those counters are illegal in Muay Thai, so you can't
Yeah,
even
I
do
was
them in
like,
Muay Thai.
bro, I was like, I can't do like anything because they were telling me like the rules in the beginning. I was like, so I can't like okay, I can like clinch. And then I was trying to throw kicks and like the straight kicks were working like a lot. Like I threw a spinning back kick to somebody and I caught him like in the flying rib and I was like, ooh, that was like a little too hard. So I stopped throwing kicks because I realized like, okay, I don't want to like hurt people, but
Mhm.
I feel like if we were fighting Sanda rules, like I would have done a lot better, like
Well, obviously,
but
because you practice Sanda,
yeah,
and
I was like these rules are like really constricted and like they're just
mm,
walking me down and I'm like,
if you do that, you're gonna get blast double. Like you saw, like
yeah,
me
I couldn't
sparring
go for a
like
single
Ben or
takedown. I was
whatever.
like, I'm just like striking you. It's like that's cool and all, but in a normal fight, dude, if somebody does even a fraction of like wrestling, they're gonna go for a wrestling takedown on you. And if you don't know how to
Yeah,
sprawl,
and
like
if you clinch with someone, their instinct is to like just grab and try to throw you
yeah,
like in a real fight. But
exactly.
Roman brought up a good point in the live chat. Good example was that spar at Kisenshi, Jared and that Muay Thai guy. So Jared went to Kisenshi with me at this open mat. I'm not gonna say who it was, but he sparred this Muay Thai guy. But they were doing like mixed rules where you can like do like knees but also takedowns. Like it was really confusing what rule set we were competing in. But at the
These
end,
but also takedowns. That's crazy.
so it was like pro sauna rules almost. But anyway,
Yeah, that
my
sounds
point
scary. I'm
is,
not. I'm not going for a single takedown
yeah,
if you're throwing knees. Nigga. No, I'm good off that.
yeah. But we went to a ring, and then we did this thing where we record it, and then we also have people like in the corner. I was in
You
Jared's
recorded it?
corner. Huh? Yeah,
You
but
recorded
we're
it?
not posting the footage because it's not like a smoker or anything. It's more like
Oh,
it's just to practice being in front of people and sparring, right?
okay. I just want to
And
see what the footage looked like, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I can show you personally, but don't post it on social media or
I
anything.
won't post it. I just send it to my upload it to Dropbox or something, and then I send it over to me. I won't post
I
it.
don't
I just want to see
have
it.
Dropbox. All right. Maybe I'll
You,
just
just
show it
you.
to you in person on Tuesday or whatever. But in any case, so the guy throws a knee and he just like because you're on one foot when you're throwing a knee, he just like
Yeah,
sweeps him as he's throwing the knee. Like
yeah.
that'll happen every single time. And I was sparring this other guy, like, and then like same thing happened when you and I sparred one time. Like you threw a knee as I was going for a
On
takedown.
accident, I was going for a
You
keep.
yeah, but you're handing me that leg to
Yeah,
like go for a takedown. Like there's no power on the like the of course every once in a while there's gonna be a Jorge Masvidal going for a flying knee and then they're gonna get the guy who's going for a takedown. But
yeah, and
like
they're just
that
gonna kill
hardly
him.
happens.
Mhm.
That hardly happens. Like Jorge Masvidal did that because he got lucky, first of all. Second of all, because Ben Askren had multiple surgeries before that fight. And third of all, because Ben Askren doesn't know how to strike. Like that almost never happens, right? Most of the time, when you knee a person, you're giving them the takedown, or when you kick a person, you're giving them the takedown.
Yeah.
Like you're on one foot, you're literally raising your leg up so that you can get grabbed. Like that you're giving them a single leg, and then
Mhm.
of course knees hurt. They're devastating. But Koshu Lei
If
Tai,
you
for
hit them,
example,
that's like only if you hit them though, and
yeah, that's
like
only if you
you
hit them,
close the
right?
gap to the point where there's no force behind it. You just gave up a single leg every time.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And if you look at Koshu Lei Tai, which is another Chinese sport, it's very similar to Sanda, whereby you're allowed to do everything, except you're also allowed to knee and elbow. Like people often don't throw knees and elbows because if you get that close, you're going to get taken down, right?
yeah, can you?
But
I didn't know
what?
that with the rules, but there was a couple times where I got kicked where I was like, I don't really know if I can like catch these. I mean, like not to say
Mm,
that I was gonna catch them regardless because they kind of suck, but I don't. It wasn't like a thing where I was like, oh, let me catch it. Oh wait, I don't. It was just a lot of times where I was just like second guessing myself in the moment where I
mm.
was like, I don't know if I can do that right now. It was like a
Okay,
like we press a
so
button, it's like it was like that was just happening in my brain a lot.
mm. So in Muay Thai, it's very confusing. The reason why you don't have like the Sanda catch where you like block
Like
and then cover is
yeah,
because when you do that, you typically you're going for a takedown, and most
yeah,
of the takedowns you're not allowed to go heel behind the leg where you
yeah,
reach the leg in Muay Thai because that's not a Muay Thai sweep. You can't judo throw them, meaning like you can't like
mhm,
do those big throws. Yeah, yeah. And most of the things that you do when you do the underhand sweep involves that. But
yeah,
usually they catch like this. And the other rule that you can't break either is you can't take more than 2 steps while holding the leg in Muay Thai. And I love Muay Thai too. I've trained Muay Thai too for years. And like I think it's a great sport. I think the best thing you can take out of it is their clinch work, their knees, and their leg kicks. Like those are great
for
things.
sure.
But at the same time, you have to know its limitations. It's not as limited as something like boxing, but it still has its limitations, and people treat it in MMA like it has no problems. Someone
Yeah,
in the live chat. Someone in the live chat asked, "Is martial arts for self defense or is it mostly an art or sport?"
I'm
It
doing it
depends on the martial art,
strictly to fuck niggas up. I want to make that abundantly clear.
but do you want to fuck chinks up because it's for the sport aspect or
Fuck
for
what?
self defense?
Fuck, I'm fucking-
Is it for like self defense or for sport for you?
Kind of both, honestly. But like I told you previously, I don't really want to become like the fucking UFC world champion. Like I don't. I think it'd be dope to like do like a fight or two, but I'm not. That's not really like a big goal of mine. I mainly just do it because one, it's a great way to stay physically fit. Two, it's a great way to train my mind and my body and keep up that mind muscle connection and stay athletic because there's a lot of flexibility and athleticism that you learn within like martial arts that you can't necessarily train in a weight room unless you're really specifically like, oh, I'm gonna work out my hip flexors and I'm gonna do like a 20-minute workout or a stretch after where I like strengthen them and then stretch them, you know?
And that shit's boring.
And that shit's boring. I can't punch anybody. I'm not blocking anything. I'm not training my reaction times. And that's another thing. That's another thing. Training my reaction times to work in cohesion with my body because as we were talking about previously, like I played a lot of video games, so I think my reaction times are pretty solid. But beyond like small twitch movements with my hands, I can't really do like a crazy complex movement and then like do like a 3-step process right after that, you know?
It's almost like one is mental and one is physical. Anyway, but yeah, that's a great point. Like training your reaction time with your body as well as like these small movements. But one thing, like also getting hit. Like if you're getting hit, then that means you're also conditioning your body to get used to getting hit. Like you dead end the nerves in your shins and your body in order to be able to take hits. Like even through everyday life, it like affects you. Like if I hit my shin on a coffee table,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck, right? Because like
Unless
it
that
like
razor scooter hits you, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
even the
I
razor
I
scooter,
don't I
I'm
don't want to
fine.
test that. I'm personally good off that.
You can test it, but like Roman in the live chat right now, he won his national fight because his shins were better conditioned than the other guy. He got a TKO because the other guy's shin broke. Like that is something that carries with you throughout all of life. Maybe you won't get into a fight in real life.
I
I
don't
hope you
want to
don't
get
get a
into a
fight.
fight. Yeah, I was gonna say I
Yeah,
don't want to get into a
but
fight.
like after learning Sanda, do you want to get into a fight even less now or more now or what do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, like, I just feel a lot more confident. I would feel a lot more confident if I did get into a fight. That's just something that's like obvious, obviously, because it's like, I have experience throwing punches. I have experience taking punches. I have experience taking kicks, sprawling out from somebody trying to take me down, um, which is all like, kind of builds your confidence regardless of your skill level at it, which I think is extremely important in a fight because I feel like a lot of fighting or like people like doing a big dick measuring contest at like a bar or something like is
Mhm.
looking like you know how to fight. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, you want to go, bro?" and then I like actually like I'm like, all right, you back me into a corner, dude. I couldn't run, and I actually like start like warming up and actually looking like, oh, like this guy might know how to fight. And I start like throwing kicks at him. He's gonna be a little scared. And I think
Mhm.
that's an intimidation factor that I would like to have in my back pocket in the event some fuck shit happens.
But do you think that you want to get into a fight less now that you've had experience, or more that
Definitely,
since you have
definitely,
less?
yeah.
Yeah, talk
I mean,
about
like
your experience
it
with
wasn't
that.
really like my inclination. Actually, I would say it's probably more. Um,
More, you want to get into a fight?
not I because I didn't want to get into a fight before because
Mhm.
nigga I didn't know how to fight like at all. So it's like I'm just gonna avoid that charisma intelligence build 100%. But now I'm
Mhm.
like kind of diversifying my build. Um, I feel like I wouldn't really try as much to be like, oh, I gotta take the charismatic option. Although I would probably try very hard still because I just don't really like physical violence like that. I'm not really like a person that um, exercises my will physically on people. I'm not for
That's an
that.
interesting opinion. So typically the response I get usually is like if I ask Max this, he would probably agree with me that because I have trained this sport and I've realized how much this shit hurts and how terrible violence can be, I don't want to get into a fight in real life. Bro, what if they pull a
Yeah.
knife or a gun?
No, exactly. Yeah.
Punching bare knuckle without the gloves, hitting shin on shin?
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
I run
Exactly.
into What if I run to Jared the Grappler, the famous TikTok
Exactly.
influencer
Like,
on the
what? You don't
street?
know who you're gonna
Like
fight
you
out
don't
in the
know who
street.
trains. You don't know
Yeah.
who trains. And like there are people who can do what Jared the Grappler, the famous TikTok influencer, does to you, or Ryan Liu, the midget that you see in your Sanda club all the time, can do to you. Like people like that exist, and they can do that to you. Like that sucks. You know, like I don't want
No,
to get
for
into a
sure.
fight.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, but it's like a willingness to fight going up from like 1% to like 2%. Like, it's not like a massive gain of like, oh my god, this guy's like he wants to fight people. It's not like that. Like, I still obviously don't know how to fight, but I guess it's a more of a willingness to fight rather than
I
that.
think
Because I
willing.
feel like,
I think 100% you have to have a willingness to fight, but I
yeah,
think at the same time, like the willingness to fight isn't the problem. It's just like you don't want to fight. You
the
know what I mean? Like
desire
you don't.
definitely. I would say that desire definitely went down.
Yeah, because also you like every person has like aggression. Everyone feels the need. Hey, I want to hurt someone or hit
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you get that all out in practice. Like
one hundred
especially if you
percent.
practice often, right?
Yeah,
Like you have once a week where you get to legally hit someone in the face
it's
or
dope.
legally, and then you can also be like, hey, maybe my head's hurting, maybe my shin's hurting. Hey, can we do this round where there's no headshots? Can we do this round where
Yeah,
there's no leg kicks? Like you can add constraints to it and still get better at what you do and still be able to
facts.
take out stuff, right? And then like, bro, it's so satisfying when you land like a good throw or have a
Yeah.
good defense to something.
Hmm.
Like and one thing I'd like to compliment you on that Ian Coach Lee from the US National Sanda team
Glaze
complimented
me.
me.
No, I'm joking. Okay. What are you gonna say?
He said that like I had a good mindset where even if I get hurt, even if I start losing or whatever, like I'm here to learn. And I think that you have that same mindset.
Yeah,
Even though you have that competitive edge where it's like I want to win, and it scratches that same itch, which it does for me too. Like
yeah,
you're more willing to learn than the next person. Like hey, even though I'm losing this, I don't take it like an insult or
yeah.
something against my ego, right? That's something that you can't really teach people, and that's something that's very important, and that's why you're learning faster than a lot
Thanks,
of
bro.
other guys, and that's why you still show up. Like other guys will quit like the first day because they're like, huh, I realize I can't fight, this makes me hurt my ego, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's something that I do a lot, or at least exercise sometimes, because I used to do it a lot with video games and with anything really competitive that I find interesting. Um, like as soon as it's like, oh wow, I suck at this skill. Like I'm a bronze player. Oh my god, what's the highest rank? How do I get there? You know?
Hmm.
And I already have set that limit of like I don't want to go to top 500. I don't want to go to, because I've done that before with
Hmm.
like Overwatch and other video games in general, and I understand the dedication and the time it takes, and I don't want to have to get to that point where it starts to consume other aspects of my life, and my life starts to deteriorate. I would like to keep it as like a competitor, or like a a slightly casual thing that I improve slowly over time, but I still go at it with like a learner's mentality. Because what I would often do in the past was I would like find a game where I'd play against a player. Like for example, I used to play Brawlhalla, right? And I would play against a player and I'd get whooped by him because he's like top 500. He plays this game all the time, and all I would do is be like, yo, run it back, and I would play this dude for hours. I'd play this person for hours because I want to improve
You
as much
lose
as
every time.
possible. Yeah, I'm losing every single game. There isn't a single game. I maybe get him like out once, and that'd be like after an hour, 2 or 3 of playing with him. But like that improvement would be like, yeah. And then I'd go and I'd play against somebody else and I'd like scrape them because of the massive ADHD filled fucking rage session that I just played.
Hyperfixation.
Yeah, my autistic ADHD hyperfixation just allowed me to grind out 50 hours of XP, within like 3 hours or something.
It's
Because
the
I didn't.
same competitive urge, and it consumes you. Like this guy
Yeah.
in the live chat says, "Whiplash is a good movie that shows about how being the best at what you can do can consume your whole life. Balance is best." Yeah, like, and the other thing too is like fighting has much more drastic consequences than say like wasting 1,000 hours on Brawlhalla, which apparently this guy in the comments also did.
No,
Like
yeah, I can
you
never
could
be
get
bronze, by the
seriously
way.
injured.
I would never be bronze at anything because, like, I mean, like, besides, like, academics. But if it's a video game, nigga,
You
I've
getting
never been
gold?
bronze in my life. But Another thing, 1,000 hours on Brawlhalla is crazy. You should get that checked out. That's mental illness.
Get that checked out.
I
Max
got my
also
shit
asked you
checked
a
out.
question.
What do you say?
Max asked you, Jaden, are you willing to not back down in a conflict, like not want to fight, but you can be more confident or assertive with the
Yeah,
skills?
yeah, exactly. Like for example, like the typical scenario I think of in my head is like if I'm at a bar, right, and somebody does something to check me, and it's like an aggressive act,
Hmm.
I would be like really. There's a low probability I would do something, especially if it was like an aggressive act towards me, or like they're endangering me or my family or my friends that I'm there with. I would feel like, damn, like I can't do anything. Like I'm a victim, you know, and I
Hmm.
can't really do anything.
Hmm.
Which is why I said before, like I would be more my willingness to fight or my likelihood of fighting would probably go up because in those scenarios I would have likely backed down and just let them
Hmm.
do whatever the fuck they wanted as long as they stopped at least in some capacity. Obviously, there's limits on that, but I feel like now my like tolerance for bullshit has slightened a lot or
That's a
lessened
good thing. Even just not
because
even physical things, like verbal things.
no, I don't really care what you say, like verbally. Like, I'm gonna come back like with some fire too. Like, I can get really creative if you get me mad enough.
Just Asian idiot wasn't the most creative one. Like you could do a little
No,
bit
that was
better
a
on
pretty,
that.
but you
But
didn't get me mad, so it was like this, and that wasn't an
but
insult. It was
but you
just
don't
pure
have to get them
observation.
mad to be like spitting fire back. Like we could have a casual conversation where we're just spitting fire at each other. You know what I mean?
I suppose, but there's definitely limits on that. There's definitely
There
limits on
there
that,
there are definitely limits on that.
and I feel like I don't know. I think I'm a pretty chill dude. I don't try and go out and like be aggressive or anything like that. Um, Especially outside, like you said, I don't really want to fight. But if somebody was like just coming at me, like insulting me, insulting like a girl I'm with or something like that, making me look bad like that, I'm like, all right, like shut the fuck up now, bitch. At like I'm gonna start coming back with fire, potentially
Yeah,
provoking the other person because it's like, nigga, I'm not just gonna let you bitch me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
yeah,
past a certain point, it gets to the point where it's like, all right.
yeah. You have to
Have
defend
you seen the
yourself and your
Boondocks?
stuff.
You referenced it earlier.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have a nigga moment right now, and I'm 100% here for it. Like I'm 100. I'm here for the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like nigga, I'm. I can get real
I'm gonna send
ignorant
this to
too.
my boy
Like,
Mario later. He's gonna
do
fucking
not
love
let the
this shit.
glasses fool you, nigga.
Do not let the glasses
I
fool
am
you.
from the philosophy. I will become a statistic immediately. Like
I
please
will
do not.
become a statistic. Jaden
We
with
can
a
get
girl.
real statistical in this bitch, my nigga. Like, oh shit, I can't hear you.
Someone in the live
Oh.
chat said, Jaden with a girl?
All right, that's not even that funny, bro. Like that's really not, that's really not even that funny, bro. Like
Okay,
that's not even
okay. Away from the martial arts stuff, what do you think about women versus men? Like that dichotomy?
what? You mean like
Like,
fighting?
what do you, no, no, no. Let's talk about fighting first. Like, let's talk about like fighting. Like, do you think that like, for example, do you think like a trained woman would be able to like easily beat you? Like when I first met you,
Oof.
you're
Yeah,
like the
Whaley is cooking my shit.
okay, but below that, would a good amateur fighter female be able to beat your ass?
I don't. I'm not that familiar with like amateur fighters.
Like
But probably maybe
a
yeah.
person with oh okay, okay, that's fair. Um, do you think that like a low level competitor would be able to beat you?
Like a
Like a
low level
woman.
competitive woman. I feel like that doesn't really exist. Like that,
They're
there's like
either
maybe
super
five
good or
people.
like eh.
Yeah, I feel like most like especially in martial arts especially. Most people who do martial arts and they're like, I'm gonna do martial arts. They're like, it's like a there's a large skill gap from like the lowest level person who does it even amateurly. You know?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good answer. Okay, what do you think about like weight differences? Like, do you think that like on a hundred like if
Oof.
someone weighed 100 pounds and you somehow gained 50 pounds of muscle with your current skill set, do you think like a 100 pound champion would be able to beat you?
Champion.
Yeah,
Ooh. In Sanda?
if in whatever versus you who's 200 pounds with your
In a
current skill
street
set,
fight?
street fight, whatever.
Yeah, I'm cooking
They're
that. I'm
MMA
not gonna lie. I'm
Okay.
cooking that.
You're cooking him?
I'm cooking like if you said it's a girl, right?
No, 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 just anyone. Like just
Oh,
weight difference.
it depends. Their back. If they're a champion, oof.
MMA champ. MMA champ.
Yeah, no, I'm getting my shit cooked.
Okay,
No
okay,
cap.
okay. Okay, what
I'm
if
not one
they're
of those guys
90
that's like,
pounds?
nah, bro, I bench 250. Like, nah, I know
Okay,
well
what if
enough.
what if,
Like,
what if they're 90 pounds? What if they're 90 pounds?
90, dude, you're like a 7-year-old. That's like
Okay, but you're
that's
an
like
adult 90
you are
pound
at
MMA
danger
world
of
champion.
dying at that point. Like, you need food. I
Okay,
wouldn't
but
even want to fight you because I'd be so concerned for your well-being and health.
okay. So weight difference, like you feel like that. Do you think which one do you think is worse? If you like having a weight difference, let's put it in terms of fight. Like which one do you think would win in a fight? Like let's say a 200-pound woman MMA world champion, or like say a 150-pound male world champion. Like who do you think would win in that
Oh,
MMA
oh
fight?
wow, that's a good fight. I would pay to watch that. I'm not gonna lie.
So you're unclear about who would win that fight.
I think the dude would win, but it'd be close.
That's hard to say for me because like if it's a 150-pound MMA world champion, like that doesn't really mean you're 150 pounds because like guys can cut so much more weight than women can. Like Islam probably walks around heavier than 200 pounds.
Okay, what does he fight
Yeah,
at?
so he fights at 155. Yeah, I know.
That's got to be like bad for your health, dude. That's got to
It,
be
it,
bad
it
for your health.
is horrible for your health, but that one's interesting. I in my personal opinion, the other problem is that
I viewed
women's
it as like
MMA.
they're fighting at 150. He's literally like 150, and then the girl is like 200. That's like a like if I just see that out on the street, like a big back versus a a big
Okay,
back champion.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing too, though. The 200-pound woman, even if she's an MMA world champion, like the level of competition because there's more men that compete in men's martial arts than women's is so
Yeah,
much higher. It's the same thing as like women's
yeah,
gymnastics. There's so much more women competing in women's
yeah,
gymnastics. Even if they're champion, like obviously the woman in gymnastics is gonna have more skill.
yeah. Exactly. That's true.
Max is
That's true.
asking. That one's a hard one. I don't think I would give a definitive answer. Okay,
I would pay good money to
Max
watch that.
Chow. Max Chow asks, could Mighty Mouse beat Brian Shaw? If you don't know who either of those
I
two
don't
are,
know.
Mighty
I know
Mouse
who
is a
Mighty Mouse
hundred.
is. I don't know who Brian Shaw is.
All right, Mighty Mouse, 125-pound fighter, greatest fighter of all time, versus Brian Shaw, one of the strongest men to have ever exist. He won World's Strongest Man, and he also
Oh,
trains a little bit of martial arts, a
you
little
talking
bit.
about the big dude, like the chicken nugget?
Yeah, I think Mighty Mouse
Oh,
easily wins.
I.
Mighty Mouse easily wins. Like it's not
You
even a
think
question.
so?
Like yeah, Max, like it's not even a question.
Like
Demetrius
in
Johnson goes.
UFC rules?
You have literally any rule set and any martial art, Demetrius Johnson wins. Like literally any martial art.
Boxing.
Like boxing, yeah, Demetrius Johnson wins. Like Demetrius Johnson fought against the world champion. Like actually, boxing, if anything, is one of the ones that weight matters the least, in my opinion. Like because
But there's a
it
large height disparity as well.
the, yeah, that'd be to Demetrius Johnson's advantage, like Mike Tyson style. Like he'd have a he'd just duck under every single like imagine you're Demetrius Johnson. He'd have to be punching down, which makes his punches weaker, and then it's easier to duck and go under them because you can see all the punches coming, as opposed to if you're Brian Shaw, the punches are coming upward, right? And like they're harder to see. They come from weird angles, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, like being shorter is almost an advantage in boxing. It depends on your style, but like I said, your height in like every aspect of your physical body can be used as an advantage.
That's true. But I feel
Yeah,
like
like
if Brian Shaw gets like one good kick on Demetrius Johnson, that's gonna hurt him a
for
lot.
sure it's gonna hurt him, but Brian Shaw cannot kick harder than like world champion fighters that Demetrius Johnson is sparring on the daily, or was in his prime.
Okay, are we just taking them as they are right now, or are we like
Okay,
putting some sort of like basic training behind Brian Shaw?
Brian Shaw does have basic MMA training.
Oh, that's fucking scary, dude.
Yeah, he has basic MMA training, like in real life.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be a tough match for Demetrius.
I don't think so. I think Demetrius like walks through him like easily. Like I don't think you guys understand like obviously he's on steroids. He's super fucking strong. Brian Shaw, Max Zhao said in the live chat, 6'8", 430 pounds. Not even a question. I don't care. I just don't care. Like Demetrius Johnson has submitted guys who are
Sneaky Brian Shaw.
literally twice his weight, right? Literally twice his weight, and also a brown belt world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, there's no way in hell that Brian Shaw is not getting submitted by Demetrius Johnson. Connor versus the
Yeah.
Mountain. Connor versus the Mountain. Connor was playing with the Mountain. In real life, Connor would kill the Mountain like easily. Like easily.
Would an armbar even work if you could curl your body weight? That's actually a really good point.
Okay, but
Would he have to go for
an
like a rear
armbar
naked choke
isn't
or something?
fighting your entire body weight. An armbar is fighting how much you can hip thrust, and how much you can hip thrust is well beyond the world record for curling, especially from that position. The world record strict curl is like 200 and something pounds, and doing that with one arm, it would be like 100 pounds. Assuming Brian Shaw can lift the world record for strict curl, he'd be able to max curl 100 pounds or something like that, and not, let alone from this position, right? And Demetrius Johnson can hip thrust more than 100 pounds. Ask his wife.
That right there was a homosexual ass answer. That's got to be flag on the
He has
play.
kids. He has
Flag on the
kids.
gag.
Anyway, what about Sneeko with a knife versus Islam Makhachev?
That's one of the Khabib fighters, right?
He is Habib's cousin, and he's the current lightweight UFC world champion, and he's the pound for pound best fighter
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now in
he's
the
cooked.
UFC.
He's cooked.
155-pound champion, and he is arguably
Yo,
better than Habib.
yeah,
Arguably better than
he's
Habib.
cooked. He's cooked.
Sneeko with a knife, still cooked.
No, yeah, no, Sneaker
Even
with a
with,
knife cooked. He's cooked.
he's
Have you seen
cooked,
him
even though he
box?
has nuts.
Have you seen
Huh?
him box?
True, but like he has a knife though.
Okay. I've seen people lose their knives in a knife fight.
True. I honestly I agree with
Would
you.
it be
I'm
like?
just trying
Would it
to.
be like Sneeko is the only one that's allowed to have possession of the knife? Like it's taped
I don't
onto his
know.
arm.
I don't know. I think Da or
That's
whatever
like the only
whoever that
way I
is.
think like he would be able to even have a
I think
chance.
even then Islam Makhachev
Yeah, even
wins.
still, like he's just gonna
Yeah,
cement a piece.
you're
Like
kind of
he's
cooked.
cooked,
Yeah, you're kind of cooked, bro. Like
and he
I
doesn't
would
weigh a
say
whole lot. So I think Islam still weighs more than him. Sneeko survived Strickland. Keyword survived.
he survived Strickland only trying to box him though. It's a sharp knife. Yeah, man, I don't know. Islam Makhachev. I think 1 out of 10 times he wins, but yo, hello, hello. Hello. Oh.